Please enter your participant or moderator code followed by the pound key. Please say your name followed by the pound key. You are the first participant in the conference.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. I'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before I make a motion for the approval of the minutes agenda, Carla, was number 9, was that supposed to be discussion with possible action, or was it just discussion?
Yeah, it was supposed to be discussion with possible action.
So I'll make a motion to add possible action to that, make as part of my motion to approve the minutes and agenda with the addition of possible action on number 9.
I'll second.
Motion Derby and second from Smith to approve the minutes and agenda with the change of discussion with possible action on number 9. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Morning, Kelsey.
Good morning.
All ready for you.
I screwed up and didn't put your stuff at the top.
That's okay. I may have to run out for a meeting in between.
Kelsey, we're going to probably have to sit down and have a discussion about conflicts of interest.
Okay.
Let us know when you're available.
There's an upcoming subject that's going to
Okay.
affect
Let me pull my calendar up.
two out of the 3 of us, and maybe others.
Okay. How long is today's meeting? Any idea?
I mean, it's not emergency type thing,
Okay.
but it's coming in the next year or two. But it affects
It'd
how
be
we
nice to know in the
operate
next
now.
couple months where we're at.
Okay.
And I could probably just email you the situation. You could start.
If you want to do that, so I can at least have some details first, and then I can look into it. Then we can figure something out.
Okay.
That would probably be best.
I wonder if we're not important enough for them.
Yeah. We could maybe do number 5 real quick.
There he is. Morning.
Morning. Well, today I can tell you we have our F-29 bridge is open and complete, and the guys are taking a week to do kind of odds and ends work orders type thing, and then we're gonna move to it was a triple wood box south of Thompson, and we're replacing it with a half a tank car, and that'll take a couple days. And so we'll kind of have 3 of our bigger projects done before the 4th of July this year, and that's pretty good. We'll wait a little bit longer with the Three Fingers Bridge. I guess Kevin's got some roofing to do, so we're gonna kind of work with him on his timetable for that project. Other than that, guys are in the rock and gravel run, and I guess I'm not sure where they're hauling today. They move pretty quickly, so it's a little bit hard to keep track of. I sent you guys a message about the capital assets disposal, so I think we're clear to, offer the truck for private sale if we'd like to. I don't have numbers on what we think it's worth to private sale yet, but we can do that as long as, the board approves it.
What would the timeline on that be?
I would think, Aaron would like to have the snow equipment at Christdale and have it kind of in progress to make sure there's no hiccups about getting the new truck back before we sell this one. So, maybe private sale timeline August, and then auction, if that doesn't work, sometime September. That's real tentative.
Is the bidding closed on the Halberd one yet? Is that done?
On the lumber,
Yeah.
what date did I give you on that?
Can't remember.
Was it the
That's all right.
19th? What's the date today?
20th.
I'll have to check that. Oh, July 19th, I do have it written down here.
Oh, July 19th.
July 19th.
That'd be better than June 19th.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the other thing I was going to mention is we talked a little bit, or I sent you a message about the private drains layer in Beacon. Yeah, any feelings on that? Based on what I found, isn't any tile information, even though in our experience sometimes it does. Some of those lines do overlap with where we think tile are. Seems to be just a coincidence.
So the new layer possibility is the same, in the same manner?
It sounds similar. Eric overlaid the two layers on top of each other, and they do have a lot of the same alignments. The points aren't all the same, but a lot of the line work did lay over top of each other. It's just, most of the lines are short, steep slopes and intermittent crossable channels, little ravines. They're all observational. There's things like when they did the soil survey, they saw with their eyes, and wrote it down. So that was pretty revealing, considering we've used it as kind of a clue in the past for where tile might be. So it was kind of disappointing to find out.
I don't think it's anything we can count on.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's all I have, other than what's on the agenda.
Consider for approval resolution establishing weight restrictions on Winnebago County bridges.
So this is something that should be done every year. It is to have the board approve all of the current bridge weight postings to make them legally enforceable. Started doing it just a couple years ago. I didn't really realize it had to be done, and then we missed it last year. So this has a table of all of the bridges in the county that are posted with weight limits. Well, I guess the list includes all of the bridges, and then it tells you which ones are posted. Do you have any questions about it or want me to go over anything?
So it's just a resolution that we have to approve?
Yep, it's a resolution that references a table of the bridges and all their postings, and it says these are a result of the inspections that we have done, and It authorizes me to put up signs based on those recommendations and make them legally enforceable under the Code of Iowa.
So how does that interact with the statewide truck?
The all systems overweight permit, well, it goes right together. So not only do we just have the timber bridge postings, but we also have the 2 paved road bridges that have 28, 40, 40 postings, you know, based on your recommendation to post those 2 bridges. We'll have Calhoun Burns evaluate all of the unpaved road bridges as soon as they get time to do that, probably later in the summer. And they'll tell us if we need any extra postings for that purpose. And then we can do another resolution at that time. I expect there to be, you know, for all the unpaved bridges that aren't concrete slab bridges, so anything timber or concrete, quad T, or any of the other odd ones we have, I expect those all to get posted with something. Even if it is just 28, 40, 40, I would expect that'll be their recommendation, but we'll bring that to you when I get that.
How many are there, Scott? Bridges total.
How many bridges total?
This will make it fun and interesting.
There's 38 on here, which is a really refreshing number compared to, you know, 10 years ago, or even more so 20 years ago, before, you know, wind turbine, TIF, construction projects. These are just the bridges that, you know, are not culverts, triples or doubles. It doesn't include any of those because we haven't seen any reason to evaluate those. So it includes some bridges that are shorter than 20 feet as well, so they wouldn't be official NBIS bridges, National Bridge Inspection Standard. But it's a manageable number, and, you know, so many postings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 posted. You know, you guys remember, you all do, I'm sure, we had to be 50, 60 posted bridges at one point.
Yep.
And, you know, half of these postings are 28, 40, 40, so, you know, normal legal truck can go over them. So overall, we're making good progress.
Well, I don't have any questions about it.
2 copies.
Need a motion for the approval of resolution establishing the weight restrictions on Winnebago County bridges.
I'll second it.
Smith, second by Derby, to approve a resolution establishing weight restrictions on Winnebago County bridges, allowing the engineer to post them. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, we did. All right, consider for approval utility permit for Heartland Power to bury electric lines at 420th Street from 69 to 200th Avenue.
This project is a overhead to underground project, just off the 69 junction going east. It's similar in scope to their project on 40th over by Buffalo Center that is, you know, was approved a while back and has been worked on in the last month or so.
So they're gonna bore under the roads and stuff.
Bore under the roads, the bore under the, you know, we go under the tiles. It's good to work with. Signature block is on page 3, maybe.
I'll make a motion to approve the utility permit for Heartland Power to bury electric lines on 4/20th from 69 to 200.
Second.
Motion Derby and a second from Smith to approve the utility permit for Heartland Power to bury electric lines on 420th Street from 69 to 200th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Discuss year-end auditors transfers.
This is one that we have, and it's to be, when we do the solid waste transfer, they do interest to the last day of the year, but sometimes they get it wrong. So if we were to do the transfers next week on Tuesday, we may not have the correct interest to the 30th, and then we would have to do another one. So I'm wondering if you would be willing to approve doing the transfer without the amount. And then I can fill in the amount on the 30th to exact.
So
I can roughly know, it would be a couple dollars difference.
basic motion would be to approve the transfers with the accrued interest.
Yeah, so next week I would tell you what I have on the 27th. It'll just be 3 more days of interest for that one. So I wanted to talk to you about it before we did it on the agenda next week. Or do you want to come in on the 30th?
I don't think it's a major issue, it's just.
Literally a
it is
couple
what
of
it
I
dollars.
was
is.
just gonna say, the amount can't be too high.
No, it is not. But for some reason, the last few years between Julie and I it's been a nightmare. So we've had to do a second one, and we want to do everything to the 30th.
It's just compounded.
Yeah. So I don't know why. Yeah. But, so I wanted to just ask you if that would be something you'd be okay with. Okay, fine. Okay, thank you.
Auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
I don't have anything for that either.
Anybody else?
No, I don't think I have anything.
I don't think so.
What's a meeting without drainage?
Did everybody show up for drainage?
Yeah.
Anybody here for drainage?
All right, we'll move on to number 7, discuss with possible action changes requested by Forest City United Methodist Church trustees regarding the share use agreement for parking facilities.
So I think Carla sent you guys their proposed changes, and you guys gotta tell me what you want me to do. As far as if you want me to make those changes, or if there's certain ones you want me to make, or.
So the changes as listed are the right to terminate within 60 days. What did we have? Anything?
Let me pull it up. I have to imagine there was something in there,
I
but
thought there was. Maybe.
Hopefully it would never be an issue, but if they were to terminate, then we wouldn't have enough parking spots to make.
right.
That would be an issue.
Mhm.
I mean, what would happen then? We'd have to go to the city and.
I don't know, we'd have to cough up some parking spots somewhere to be.
So the second one was for the spots we're utilizing, it's about 1 in every 6 spots. They'd like to have us responsible for 1/6 of the cost to remove the snow each winter. And it says the church primarily removes snow on Sunday mornings or as needed. The county will utilize the lot Monday through Friday. Therefore, the county may need to remove snow Monday through Friday as needed, which means probably just the 6 closest spots probably. About all we'd have to plow.
I mean, that's
think
what we can
need to
propose.
Draw that out, or spell
Yeah,
that out.
I would think that they would maybe think it would be the whole.
And like, so the way theirs reads, I couldn't tell if they meant like, so we're paying 1/6 even when they remove snow on Sunday when we don't need it on Sunday, or is it just, are we paying
Yeah,
Monday through Friday because they're not using it those days? I mean, I think there are a lot of details to. sort of hash out there.
We should pay 1/6 no matter when it's moved, because we'll always need to be cleared. If it was moved on Sunday, we'd need to be cleared Monday anyway, so.
Unless you gotta move snow again on Monday.
Well, it's unfortunate.
Can we counter offer that we would do our 6 spots in the north end, during the Monday through Friday, and then the Sunday is their responsibility.
Yeah, because they're doing the whole thing anyway, you're not gonna leave 6 spots, so it just doesn't make sense.
What was the next one, Terry?
That was responsible for 1/6 of the cost of future parking lot maintenance.
And so maintenance, do they mean if they have to repave the parking lot? Is that just,
Well,
Or put lines.
I think
Right.
Yeah.
lines, and they do crack filling.
Sure.
I think they just did some. But it could be as much as
well,
paving
that's,
the whole thing.
yeah, I want
But I think it has
to
to
make sure we understand.
But it also says to be identified and mutually agreed upon. So we would be a part of that decision.
Sure.
I guess I can see that one, because it's to our benefit to have those spots. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
We need those spots.
No, the questionable one for me is the one with the right to terminate. Because we would be kind of in a,
Yeah, so I was looking at the one that I had drafted previously, which I largely used what you had provided, Terry. And I don't think I messed with the termination language. If lessor transfers ownership or a part or all of the facilities are condemned or access is changed or limited, then lessee may in its sole discretion terminate this agreement with not less than 60 days prior written notice. So it sounds like basically they just want to be able to terminate it for no reason with 60 days notice. And that would put us obviously in quite a bind. So I don't love that.
can we put terminology in there that we'd be able to buy those 6 spots or something?
First option.
First option.
Well, and that's actually already in there that we have the right of first refusal. Well, that's on renewal of agreement. Yeah, I mean, we can put that in there. I don't know if they're gonna be agreeable to that because obviously that changes their ability, if they're going to sell the property, which I don't foresee happening anytime in the future, but, they're requesting just a blanket ability to be able to terminate the agreement, so I don't know that that would appease them. But I'll put whatever you guys are comfortable with, and we can send it to them, to look at, and we can keep talking. We still have a little bit of time, I assume, on this part of it, right? For the parking purposes.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
Yeah, right, so,
And then number 4, both parties have the right for first refusal of subsequent renewal of the agreement, like you mentioned.
that's already in there, yeah.
What are the renewal dates to be used in this agreement?
Let's see.
I just figured whenever we signed it, we'd renew.
Okay.
Automatic renewal every year at that time. Unless negotiated otherwise.
Yeah, we can do it annually, however that doesn't really make much of a difference.
Yeah, and then the last one is include that the agreement will automatically renew annually unless written notice has been given.
Yeah, which I would agree with. There's no need to come back every year if everything's going okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we're having problems, it's a different story, but.
So I don't think we're too far off here.
No, I don't either.
So I don't know, I guess you guys is okay with working some of this in there and looking at it after she puts it into the agreement?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think we should do that and look at it again. I mean, we had no agreement at all before, and we were using their
It was verbal.
verbal, yeah. But
but I mean, we had no written agreement at all in the past. Good faith.
I mean, I can't anticipate there being a problem, because there hasn't been for years. The 60-day thing is just a little,
Well, 60 days is not much notice to us. If for whatever reason they decide they don't want us to use those spots anymore, if it's causing a problem or whatever, 60 days, we're not gonna find a solution in 60 days. That would be concerning, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we're breaching the agreement, if we're not upholding whatever, then of course they would have the right to terminate regardless, but.
what would be the solution in that, if that were to happen? There's just no place to do it, otherwise we'd already have those parking spots.
Maybe we could talk to the school across the street, there's
Yeah,
parking
on
spots
the
over
north
there.
side of the street.
Okay, so there's some,
There's an empty lot there that the school bought with
Yeah.
the Cooper building.
oh, sure, yeah.
And that would be close enough to make, you all you gotta do is be parking spots, in a sense, you don't have to be within so many feet of the building, or,
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I've never looked at their, I can look, see what they're,
I mean, you could, I guess
that's
you
the
have the
city,
employees park over there.
It's still
If you-
backdoor access.
Yeah, you don't want
We have spots already.
some 90-year-old veteran walking across the street on an icy street any further than he has to, I guess.
Well, the veteran parking usually isn't more than two, and there's two right next to there that's actually owned by the city, so.
do we utilize the church parking spaces very often right now?
No.
We do?
Well,
We
because
wouldn't have to.
we wouldn't have to.
We wouldn't have to, but people do just because.
Just they like to park away from everybody else,
Okay,
It's not
protect
tight.
their vehicles.
oh, sure.
There's some that park.
It's not necessarily that there's not a spot available.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're trying to leave space for the people
The actual
coming in.
parking lot
Sure.
is rarely full,
Okay,
from my experience.
Yeah, it's mainly the employees leaving the spots for the
Leaving
public.
spots for people, yeah.
So the ones that I see there now are probably gonna park on the north side and come in the back door.
So is
Okay.
street parking legal there?
No.
No, I don't think so, not on that one.
No, okay. I don't think on either side.
I know it was talked about, but is there still a drive-through plan on the new building?
No.
No, I didn't think it.
so I can kind of throw something together with those changes. I'll put them in track changes so you can see, and then send it to you again, and we can just keep working on it. And if there's something you
Sounds
want me to
good.
change, I just didn't want to go and change things without talking to you guys first.
Could we
So I'll
make
work on
the
it.
60 days, 120 days?
Yeah,
I was
Yeah.
gonna suggest that.
I mean, I think that would be appropriate to go back with something like that. Hopefully they would understand that it puts us in quite a bind if they were to just terminate it. And hopefully we won't get to that point, but,
Probably won't put us in a bind parking wise, just code.
well, just code wise, yeah.
Oh, well, 120 days would give us time to talk to other entities and about parking there, the school, and,
Right. Yeah, I can throw that
but it
in.
does seem like those are rarely full.
The school lot.
ones now.
You say this, is that Waldorf or
no, it's
It's
the city.
the city?
For city.
Okay,
That's where their main office is, administration office.
gotcha.
And they have the alternative school down in the lower level out of the alley.
Okay,
So that's why they want that control of that spot.
yeah. Okay. Well, I think that'll give me enough information to put something together at least, and then I'll send to you, and if you see anything you want changed. If we just want to throw it back on the agenda. I'm available next week if we want to put it on there, just so we can get something approved, then just send to them, keep it moving. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Great. Discussion with possible action, 2080 agreement with Winnebago County, Forest City, and Forest City Ambulance Service.
Does anyone have an update from when I last spoke with you guys? I know you were gonna have a meeting, and then Carla sent me, I think, were they Kuko's changes or proposed changes? Did you send that to these guys too?
Or city ambulances changes.
I don't
Sorry.
I think that's what we talked about in the meeting, the changes that I
Okay,
sent
okay.
to you.
You have a copy of that?
This should probably be a dollar amount change again.
I think I sent her the current one.
I stuck it in
It's like 478 or something.
Well, maybe I didn't send you the newest one.
I was gonna say, the advisory council changed, they've changed again.
Is it possible to get that?
I was just gonna say, can we print
Yeah,
that so they can see, instead of me just reading everything out loud?
This is-
Before we do that,
Oh.
maybe we should go to number 9.
I was hoping like 15. Us, I need about a minute.
Too bad. We have to wait. Like the rest of us.
This
Not
is
above the law.
this is what we decided, is it the chicken or the egg?
For the whole bunch of milk.
Well, we're gonna move on to number 9, discussion regarding recommendation from EMS advisory council, discussion of possible action. After the advisory council meeting, there was several advisory council members that had some real buyer's remorse on the decision that was made there. And I have 7 of the 8 advisory council members that are on board with completely changing the direction that they decided that night.
When you say that night, you're talking the most recent meeting? That was like last Tuesday or whenever?
Last Tuesday, they decided one plan and they didn't like it. After they thought about it for a while, we did not have another meeting. I wanted to have one last night, but there was too many conflicts. And the decision that was made at that point, we don't need to have the meeting technically because the supervisors can recommend whatever they want anyway.
Okay.
But I wanted to have the advisory council behind me on this, so I contacted, and 7 of the 8 are completely behind me on this, and we're gonna completely change directions on this.
And when you say completely change directions, can you tell me what was decided at the meeting so I know what we're changing
What
from?
was decided at the meeting was to go with the Fort City ambulance and give them all the money.
So basically the 2080 that we had
It wasn't all the money.
previously drafted? You guys gotta catch me up to speed, I'm sorry. I wasn't at that meeting, so someone tell me where we're at now. So last I knew, I drafted just a rough draft, 2080, that you guys had looked at and you were gonna discuss, and I hadn't heard anything since then except for City's proposed changes. So what happened after
Just
that?
so you know, that the current things that were passed at the vote were $478,000 cap on the levies, and along with any possible surtax coming in, about after the first of the year. And at the advisory council meeting, according to the minutes, is this correct? I thought they said 250 to paramedics.
I think that was the number that was in the end decided on, 250.
Yeah, so this is incorrect. It says 280.
Okay, yeah. It was
So it's
250.
supposed to be 250,000 to employ the 4 paramedics. And
Through Forest City Ambulance Service.
yes, and 198,000 will be used to employ full or part-time EMTs in a pool to help the 3 EMSs with their staffing.
Okay.
Oh, no, yeah, she does have it right down at the above. There was discussion up above, and down below it was changed to, the actual vote was 250 and 198, so that's what
Okay.
was passed.
But that's not how it's gonna be.
Okay,
So has somebody come up with a plan then, or?
Jason and I and, Dan Yagi, and then we contacted the rest of the advisory council members and, told them what we were thinking about doing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have Winnebago County be the employer of record. We're gonna have a paramedic service stationed out of Thompson with 3 to 3.5 paramedics there. And then we're gonna provide the 3 EMTs one to each service. And that way we can take a lot of the personality conflicts and stuff out of it, and we don't have to worry about paramedics saying that they're not gonna go to the jail and all the accusations that were made that way. And my guess is in the end, we'll even have another paramedic service, because I think Forest City will maintain theirs in the city limits. I've gotten that word from several city officials that they will have a paramedic service in Forest City. So that is the best way to improve the service, because then we'll have paramedics in Forest City, we'll have paramedics in Thompson, and the rest of the county that's getting 85% of this bill is going to be much happier with this presentation.
Okay, so just to provide a little more detail, you are allocating how much money for 3 paramedics, you said? Or what, how?
3 to 3.5.
3 to 3.5.
Hopefully 3.5.
And that would use how much of the budget?
Roughly the same amount as what we would have, 280 or whatever it costs to, because we're not giving the money to someone else, so technically it'd be Winnebago County. We don't have to get receipts and stuff like that for all the stuff.
So then you'd put 198 towards the EMTs?
Yeah.
And is that a solid number of EMTs, or is there gonna be part-time people, full-time people, or?
We went with the full-time.
Okay,
that was 3 full-time EMTs, 1 for each. Is that what you said?
well, I guess my disappointment comes in the fact that it went through the tech committee to the advisory council, and now we've done a complete about face.
The tech committee's getting what they want. They want paramedics. The ambulance services have been told they weren't gonna have paramedics, and that was never part of the plan. That worst case scenario, we would always have had paramedics, whether they were four cities or Winnebago counties.
So how would if there are 3 to 3.5 paramedics, they'd be stationed out of
In
Thompson?
Thompson.
Okay. And is there money in the budget for where they're stationed? Is there money in the budget for the equipment to do the fly? You know, the equipment in the vehicles?
There has to be some, because it's hard to get the equipment. There has to be some negotiating. Lake Mills has got 2 ambulances. They can't even get one of them going sometimes. And we could take the equipment out of the Lake Mills ambulance possibly, and this is something that's got to be discussed with Lake Mills ambulance. We have not done that yet. And possibly equip the vehicle we get from the mental health with that equipment.
Or in the short term, we could even use that second ambulance as the.
So, question. So I understand, we want paramedics. But if you don't have a person driving an ambulance and if you don't have an EMT, you still don't have a way to get that person to the hospital.
Well, if you've got the paramedic, you can, an ambulance can move with just a paramedic and a driver, am I right? Or an EMT and a driver?
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta be CPR certified to drive.
Yep. And, so, the ambulances, the services will still have their members and volunteers and stuff like that. We're just trying to augment all of it. And the only way we can truly, this way, before we're spending all the money, we're getting 3 to 4 paramedics and 3 MTs. Now we're gonna do about the same, it's just that I'm guessing that Forest City is probably gonna keep their paramedic service.
So the other question I have is, how are you gonna get all this done by July 1st? And how are you gonna,
Well, the money isn't here until October 1st. But, that's why we didn't wanna wait to have another advisory council meeting. But I contacted 7 of the advisory council members and they're all on board with this money.
What's your equipment operating budget? Like what kind of a budget are you looking at for licensing and general insurance and vehicle operation and
It'll
all
all have to come out of the budget.
But
Which we still haven't talked about, in the paramedic service, Thompson will cover the whole county.
that? Yeah. But I guess as far as when we met as a technical committee, the concern for going with Forest City as the operator is we weren't reinventing the wheel and we weren't duplicating all the expenses, which in the long run left us more money in the budget for more help to the volunteers like we were wanting.
Well, this will also have more paramedics in the county, so we don't have to worry about.
But the big problem was the volunteers. There are times where there's not a paramedic available for the initial 911 call, but I thought the big ask from the technical committee was help to get the Lake Mills ambulance staffed, the Buffalo Center ambulance staffed, the Forest City ambulance staffed. So to me, it sounds like that is going to be taking operating money away.
Well, not necessarily, not
Staff.
if we use the equipment out of the extra Lake Mills heavy.
But you still, so you're just gonna commandeer it?
We have to work that out with them. Hopefully
And
they're
then you
not gonna
still
hold us up for it.
But then you still have the overhead of the liability, the malpractice, the licensing, the insurance of the vehicle, like, that was kinda, We're
who's
forced-
gonna pay for the drugs that need to be in that vehicle and
pharmacy agreements, and
we still, you said there has to be a doctor that
the
signs off
medical
on.
director.
All be the same as it is now, as far as, we'll have to stock the thing ourselves.
You're gonna have to have your whole own license. It won't be the same as it is now.
No, yeah, we gotta
Now.
get our own license, yes.
So you're gonna have all that you're gonna take all that overhead out of the EMS budget and take away from the staffing budget, which is what the big ask was.
There's there's not gonna be enough, I mean, what you're trying to do, there's not gonna be enough money to have a staff.
Those extra costs aren't that much to it's gonna.
So how much are they then? What's your dollar amount?
Well, if we work out something
We
with,
did this, what, 2-3 years ago? Sitting in a meeting,
This is
it's,
the same plan that's been rehashed over and over
We've
and
done
over
this.
and over
and
and over.
it did not make sense.
well, it did not make sense with what is happening.
What is the big, 7 of the 9 or whatever, what is their big hang up with the plan? I'm not understanding what the big hang up is.
I can address that because I talked to
Mhm.
almost all of them, 6 of them. And I think they really just want somebody in Buffalo Center, someone in Lakeville.
Who's gonna be?
I just want to assure that. And then Thompson's sort of left out there in the,
Okay,
you know,
if I can interject, is Thompson doing like an in-kind gift of that old ambulance shed or the extra room at the fire hall where the museum is? Is that, you're gonna base out of one of those
That
two?
is a possibility, yes.
Okay, just-
I guess the understanding that I had on the advisory council was it was a minimum of 36 hours a week. There would be an EMT in all 3 cities. Wasn't that the understanding from the advisory? Yeah.
That's what the minutes say.
On top of the paramedic. That would at least be, the motion was the equivalent of 4 full-time people hourly, right? So we were gonna work on filling 4 full-time seats, which if you can't get the 4th paramedic hired full-time, we'll fill it with part-time, which would in turn have the potential of 2 12-hour shifts that are gonna be open because it only takes 3.5 people to fill a seat on 48-hour shifts. So you would have 24 hours a week that we were going to potentially down the road, like not go in the weeds, but try to work something out with Thompson and maybe put someone on Thompson, start at 24 and see where the budget takes us. Because we don't know. Nobody in this room can tell you 100% they know what the budget's going to be. And if we can keep in touch with monthly updates at supervisor meetings and stuff and move forward and keep an eye on the budget with Carla and Daisy. And if it's looking like we're having extra money, maybe we'll stick some extra part-time staff in Thompson and have it 3 or 4 days a week. I don't know. Nobody knows. Maybe we'll end up, it's like the example I gave Carla the other day. I said, while we were in the advisory council meeting, there was a Lake Mills ambulance member that went on medical leave. So with the point of the whole pool, now we would have extra staff going to Lake Mills. I mean, our goal is 36 hours a week, but if we have an emergency staffing crisis in Lake Mills, we're gonna have to shift. The goal is to keep every ambulance staffed, right? At least one town will have 1 ambulance in it, out of the 3. That's the goal. So the guidelines are 36 hours a week per station, but if 3 people are out of town and 1 person gets hurt, that's the new staffing emergency, and we'd rather, if we can fill a truck in Forest City and move the paid person to Lake Mills to fill the staffing emergency, then let's do it. And the paramedic is coming, and I know Billy and I have had a conversation about speed, same as the deputies. Deputies fly across the county to every other option because there's not one in every town. But when we can get across the county in 16 minutes, I mean, yeah, it would be amazing to have a paramedic in every town. We just don't have the money. And I feel like if we're gonna reinvent the wheel again, it's gonna take more operating money out of the budget.
I was talking to an ambulance member the other day who said, if we have paramedics stationed in Buffalo Center, the problem with having a person over there is that instead of person racing to Buffalo Center once a week. You're gonna have a person racing to Forest City 4 times a week.
Well,
3
we're not
times
gonna
a
put
day.
paramedics in Buffalo Center.
What's that?
The paramedics won't be in Buffalo Center, they'll be in Thompson.
Well, then they're gonna be racing from Townsend to Forest City 3 times a day.
Not if Forest City keeps their paramedic service. It's been said that Forest City has come from 3 different city officials that there will be a paramedic service in Forest City.
Have you discussed this with your constituents in the west end of town? That will be paying double taxes on it then?
No. But I've discussed it with the ones in the west end of the county, and the ones that I've talked to about it, none of them disagree with it.
I mean, I understand the whole premise, but the way it almost sounds like this is gonna go is like, you're gonna break off and start a whole new from scratch. Daisy and Forest City are gonna say, fine, chuck it, we're status quo and stay as we are, you guys reinvent your wheel.
We wouldn't be here right now if Forest City would have left some money in that budget.
Okay. And I'm just trying to digest it all.
The city of Forest City has taken roughly, so at $320,000 out of their budget and passed that expense on to the rest of the county.
There was a levy passed that was going to cover those expenses,
Right.
was our
But it
understanding.
was,
I don't want to rehash what we've done at every technical committee,
that's-
every
and
advisory
that's-
council committee.
That's where I'm at, because it's like, this is waffling, and
Mhm.
to be selfish, you guys have been very courteous to us and with coming to the jail and being our service of record to, for every boo-boo and pimple and whatever the inmates have, I don't wanna lose that, so.
the thought behind the levy money was to augment the services. And we're not really, we're using way too much of that money just to replace what the city of Forest City been putting in. It's,
So you're speaking for how many people voted on that levy? All of them?
everybody that I've
was
talked
their
to that
intent?
voted on the levy
And
doesn't
none of
think
them
that
speak
Forest
that
City
way
should be
that
able
I
to
talked
save
to, Bill.
$320,000 out of their budget.
But I don't want to argue about this anymore. I can't. I just,
And then,
Can't
Now,
argue
you know what,
about
and we're
this
done arguing, we're
Yeah.
tired of it too, there's been too many personality conflicts, too many threats made, idle comments about, saying, well, we're gonna charge you $350 for our paramedics to meet you, and all those things have left some pretty bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And the fact that, it's been, the money's in your budget, the money's not in your budget, I mean, I've gotten it from, and I talked to one personally, and then 2 of them, the mayor and 1 other city councilman said that there will be a paramedic service. So is the money in your budget or isn't it?
as flow through, Bill.
Yeah,
Anytime you want to spend a few hours with me going through my budget, I'd welcome it.
You've got money there to fund your paramedic service.
As flow through.
Yep.
Coming from this tax levy, the 75 cents, that's what's budgeted for the coming year.
So let me get this straight. The Winnebago County is going to take over the paramedic service and is offering the Forest City Volunteer Ambulance Service a free paramedic on every 911 call, correct? No matter where
Our
you're going,
paramedics go everywhere.
your paramedics are going everywhere for free, 100% free. Are we paying for supplies or what's the ambulance service?
Well, that stuff I was hoping Jason was gonna be here, cause he can address, he said he was gonna be here.
Yeah.
He can address a lot of that, cause he's a lot more, he has the knowledge that you have just coming from a different
And now
direction.
your inmates are gonna wait. For someone having a seizure in the jail, your inmates are gonna wait for the paramedic to come from Thompson, correct?
Mhm. If Forest City won't go. See,
I-
that's one of the
Forest
threats.
City's not gonna continue. There's no reason to have 2 paramedic programs in the same county, Bill. We're not gonna continue the paramedic program.
Well, why not? Because you guys are threatening us. The threats have been made that the paramedics aren't gonna show up. You coerced a lot of people into making decisions that they didn't wanna make. And the whole 7 of the members of the advisory council have buyer's remorse on this.
Why did they vote that way last week then?
After they sat and thought about it, after they listened to everything that transpired that
There
night,
was a
they
meeting
all,
after the meeting, Bill.
but
They all voted at a meeting very openly. We had discussion
I
with each one
talked to-
individually.
I talked to
and
everyone
Yes, there
except
was a
for
meeting
you.
after the meeting, yes.
So in
There
other
wasn't a
words,
meeting.
think
We
that-
would have had a meeting last night, but there was too many conflicts, and then Carla made a good point that we don't really need to meet, and I didn't even need to get their permission in a sense if I wanted to make a motion otherwise. But I didn't want to do that, so I called each one of them and talked to them and told them that what we had come up with, and not one of them disagreed with it.
You called every advisory committee?
Not us, but.
No, I didn't call
City.
Daisy because I figured it wouldn't matter. I wasn't gonna convince you any other
If
direction.
you don't wanna hear our side, you're
No,
convinced.
I already heard your side.
I'm done arguing, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm done arguing. Tell us what to do, because we've
let us
got
know,
agreements
yes.
that need made and may or may not be made, because I'm not gonna be your, I mean, FYI, we're not gonna be your, employer of record. Why in God's name would we do that? We gotta figure out our own things over here, so I mean, that's not a threat, Bill, that only makes sense. Why would we do that? If we've gotta run our own, we're not gonna be the employer of record of the county one that's an independent.
You're not gonna be the employer of record of the
Okay.
county.
Okay, that's
The
fine.
county is gonna be the employer of record.
Okay, thanks, Carla, for explaining. I didn't realize that had changed, so,
Yeah, I said that before you came in.
okay.
I guess I'm a little confused on why did we have, why were you requesting that there be a technical advisory committee that make a recommendation to an advisory committee, which made the recommendation? then
With
there
an
was-
amendment,
With an amendment, then there's a meeting after the meeting, because it sounds like you solicited those opinions from those people after.
You know, a couple of them contacted me.
Okay,
And the one that wasn't there, Mike Holland, mistakenly thought it was on Wednesday like it normally was. He really wanted to be there. He was really upset.
so the
Rather than have,
opinion then that was given, the advisory committee voted, input was there, discussion was there, everybody had that opportunity to say what they wanted to at the meeting, which they did, they all voted, and then all of a sudden something changes. And it changes now with a new advisory committee made up of you, Jason, and Dan, who was on the advisory committee. And now this new plan that's come forth, Lily was born from you three. So you've taken it out of what you originally had in the flow of things for an entire advisory committee to make a recommendation. And now that those guys, their opinion doesn't matter anymore. And now it comes down to what you.
no, their opinion did matter because that's why I contacted them all.
But their original decision doesn't stand, and now you're making a new decision.
Well, then we will have another advisory council meeting and then delay this a little longer.
So the three healthcare providers in this county, the three ambulance services, Buffalo Center, Lake Mills, and Forest City, we figured this was gonna happen today. I'm not even gonna lie. We all talked about it. We're sick of being caught in the middle of whatever fight it is you guys are wanting to fight.
No,
We
it's
just wanna
whatever
be
fight
able
you
to-
guys have brought.
We're not. You think that, Billy, and it's just a constant circle of fighting. It really is.
There are a lot of people that haven't liked the comments that have actually come from you.
And that's
We're
fine.
hearing the
Then
same from,
please,
you
bring the
guys.
person to us and we'll talk to them face to face.
it's,
I mean, who are the people?
I'd like to address what I would consider the elephant part of this, is any fiscal study that would be done to put together a budget for this and make it work. And there's a lot of interactions with the services, how that's gonna work. I just don't see the numbers working out in this plan. So until you get those numbers, in concrete, I mean, like you were talking, the equipment, the drugs, things like that.
Yep.
How's that all gonna work? Are the drugs gonna be billable to the ambulances, to be billable to the people they're serving, or, I don't know how this is gonna work. I just know how it used to work and could work.
Well, that's all yet to be done because this all just happened. I mean, we've got to hash that stuff out yet. Now, Jason is much better at that than I am.
The other,
And he was,
sorry, the other thing that I was just thinking about is, we'd probably have to have somebody on staff that was able to do billing and Medicare and insurance and,
one of the paramedics would be doing that. You'd have one that would be the, what would you call it, supervisor or whatever.
The other services all hire a third-party person to do that, but you guys could do it internally. Whatever works for you.
And you were talking 280,000 for 3 to 3.5. Trying to figure out how that.
No, the half is just hopeful. That's not even necessarily it.
The half is a 24-hour shift of a seat you can't leave open. It gives you a full 24 hours where there's
We're
no
gonna try and
paramedic.
figure out how to do it.
That's the problem, is always, we're gonna try to figure out how to do it. and it's
The best
already
case
figured
scenario
out.
was for Forest City to leave some money in the budget so we could actually augment this whole thing.
There's the reason we want it all changed.
Well, you know what, and there's a lot of people that don't think it's fair.
So,
Because alls we're basically getting with the other plan is the bill for the most part.
but did you explain?
We're not getting anything extra other than automatic dispatch.
Is there a
Did
reason that the city of Forest City and you three didn't meet sometime along the way, if that was the intent this whole time? If you wanted us to put in half the money, why have we not been meeting as a full council with you guys as a
I've been
full
suggesting that to you for over a year.
So,
Every
full
meeting we've
council?
been at, that you guys should leave money in your budget.
No,
We'll try and get the
you're
rest of the,
saying-
and we'll try and get the rest of the cities on board to
We're gonna
put money
have a
into
full
this.
council. I do not speak for 7 council members.
Yeah, but you can take it to the council members and evidently you haven't.
Or you could come to talk to the council, you three supervisors could come talk
And
to the
you-
Forest City City Council.
When
I
you're
didn't want
talking
to
about
remember.
their budget, like you're talking, I mean, we all should have been in the same room talking.
You're right.
But
We should have been talking, you're right. Because I think that is kind of the hang-up a little bit, is that all of the funding is coming from the levy. And what you used to have on the table isn't there anymore.
And then you could not just keep hearing it from me, but hear it from a whole group, how they see this. Because I feel like I'm made out to be the bad person here, and now Marcia too. But we don't speak for all of the council, so, but
I'm
whatever
one- I'm
stage
one
you're
voice.
at,
I'm one voice.
I disagree. I don't think that you're made to look like the bad
I was told I was lying at our
We're-
advisory council meeting, so I think that's,
We're all trying
Well,
to get the best for.
There's
the
been
county.
several different stories that come out, so there's actually, I don't know which one to believe.
whatever one you want to believe, Bill.
See, there, that attitude. right
I
there.
have an attitude.
Yeah, you do.
I cannot explain city government in the course of 5 minutes, how you put a city budget together. I shouldn't have to explain it to another government official. If I needed to do that with Brian, I'll certainly spend an hour or two trying to explain our city
You
budget.
guys really wanted to augment the EMS services of Winnebago County, you would have left some money in that budget because you're 40% of the population. I've been saying that for over a year.
Do we get the EMS levy funds from the city of Forest City?
Our paramedics will go to Forest City.
Okay,
Get
so
that
you're gonna run the entire county system,
What, no. If you guys are out or whatever, if.
but we're not, the
uh,
city of Forest City,
And you're also getting an employee. The city of Forest City is only putting in 75,000 out of this levy. If you get an
so do we
employee,
get that 75,000 then out of the budget to operate the paramedic for the city of Forest City? No?
no, you get that in the, part of it will be your EMT.
Okay.
And the rest of it will be is that if they're needed, the ones in Thompson are needed in Forest City, they'll go to Forest City.
Okay.
So can we set up a meeting with your city council? I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or come to your next meeting or.
as a citizen of Forest City, I look at this like, for years, I've paid $1.20 of my taxes towards EMS that the whole county has benefited from. And so this year, I get to pay 75 cents, which is 45 cents less than what I paid for years. And that all the rest of the county is now paying 75 cents, and I'm paying 75 cents. And so when I hear Bill saying that I should still be paying more than what the rest of the county is paying, it's kind of frustrating to me because I feel like he's saying because I live in a bigger city that I should pay more. And
The city of Forest, aren't,
please. And I feel like that if I owned a bunch of farmland and had a lot of big tractors and a lot of stuff like that, that I could, you know, if I didn't want to pay taxes on my farmland, maybe I shouldn't own farmland. Or if I didn't want a great big house someplace, you shouldn't own a great big house someplace that you could pay taxes on. I say that with Chris with drainage all the time. If you don't want to pay drainage taxes, don't own the land. I feel like if you're gonna complain about paying taxes, maybe you shouldn't own the land. I feel like Forest City has done the county a service for a lot of years. And why can't we all pay the same now?
85% of everything is paid for by somewhere other than the city limits of Forest City. So the courthouse, the jail, everything. Forest City, the county seat always has all of the jobs, all that 85% comes from somewhere else. And Forest City has always been willing to pay for the luxury of having their own paramedic service in the past. They're the ones that decided to start it. And if you were talking about the rural, you know, I mean, it kind of sounds silly if they don't want to pay taxes, don't own the land, but 23% of the population is rural Winnebago County, and they're getting 67% of this bill.
When I lived in Thompson, my taxes were $15, and I had to drive to Forest City to work. And now I live in Forest City, and my taxes are way more than that. But now I don't have to drive to work.
It would also be more than that in Thompson too, but it all depends on what size of house you have and whatever. I mean, you've got a better house here than you had there, so.
Yep.
I also have heard the exact same argument you have, but I talked to this core of people that it's like exactly what you said, and I've not heard it from you, but I have heard that from other taxpayers. I didn't choose to live at a farm. I don't own my 360 acres. I choose to live here, and I'm just paying my share. But it's all in how you look at it. Like I say, I'm done arguing about it.
So I've
If
had
we
a
need to
lot-
be
I've
at
had-
March, the July 3rd meeting, you guys want to be first up on the agenda? Is that what you want to do? Put it on there.
I would, before that meeting, I would like to see the group that's putting this plan together do a fiscal study on it and see, is this a viable solution before you go to another city council and explain it to them?
If I can just interject for a moment, I have people coming to me on this with their concerns, you know, as a county official or whatever, but they get very glazed over. They're like, this thing keeps going in 27 different directions. They keep rehashing and rehashing everything that's done. If I can ask on their behalf, my behalf, because I do it too, I said, it's draining. You know, people start talking about it, it's draining. So if you put the issue to bed, leave it there. Leave it there and go on. And you've got to fast track this. Whatever you're going to do, get it done. We keep waffling back to these other things. So fast track this thing and just make it happen. Good, bad, or
We
otherwise.
don't want to fast track a bad plan.
That
No,
was what the
it's not fair.
technical committee
Yeah,
said to do,
and-
that was what the advisory council said to do, is exactly what the sheriff is saying here, is they just want to move forward.
everybody involved in
So,
this plan.
so we'll just move forward with what I just suggested. and we'll just move
What,
forward.
what they suggested as a
suggested.
recommendation.
Who, the advisory council?
The advisory council, the
Advisory council
technical
will
committee.
reverse its decision as of now, because I
But
got
that's
7
the
of the
problem.
members.
Without talking to
That's the
technical
problem.
again.
The ambulance services in this county are tired. It's just like Steve said, we're all glazed over, we're sick of it. Beth threw her hands up, Paul's irritated, Troy's irritated, we're irritated. And finally, you know what? The Forest City Ambulance, after the advisory council meeting, I went down and I told them what the advisory council, and they said, you know what? Let's just get something going. We have to get something moving here.
And when the advisory committee left last,
Exactly what they said.
which day did we leave? Which day?
I don't,
Tuesday.
last Tuesday.
When they left last Tuesday, they made a decision. And as of last Tuesday, that's what we all thought was happening. And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing now today that there was some other meeting after the meeting, and I didn't even know
There
about
wasn't a
it.
meeting after the meeting, it was private discussions.
And the
What's
technical.
the July one
There was
deadline
no
you talked
quorum ever established.
The new fiscal year, and we're hoping to have something.
So,
Not like like a hard.
so Bill, a question, like, I live in Thompson, so everything you're saying about the core west end of the county, that includes me and my family, you know? Like I say, I want that ambulance to be there too, if wherever in our time of need. So, you know, and I'm convoluted with, you know, the Forest City end of it too, and the jail, but whatnot. But, so you had a meeting of record with this group last week, and you voted this way. And then it's just been conversation since, right? So will you have to have another meeting of record to say, okay, we want to change course off of our
Well, we wanted
last
to have one
decision?
last night, but we couldn't.
Okay,
We wanted to get this thing going one way or the other.
so like say right now,
And
it's,
the technical committee and the advisory council are things that we were required in this levy to have. But alls they do is make recommendations.
yes, so right now it's,
So, in the end, the supervisor can make the decision.
Yeah.
And I wasn't gonna make that decision without talking to the
and right, so like,
advisory council. So technically, we don't need to have that meeting. But if you, I'm all for it, we can have it if you
Okay.
want.
but that was the consensus, 7 of the 8 said,
And then they had buyer's
I
remorse
did-
afterwards, after
yeah.
they thought about it.
so now, like I say, that's just kind of left out there in open air. To solidify that vote, okay, we do want to change course, you kind of should probably have that on record officially, so to speak. Anyway, That's just where I'm digesting
I've always
that.
been on the page
So.
that Thompson is our largest community without an ambulance service. I don't want someone laying in the branding iron for darn near a half hour before somebody gets there.
So then when we fix that problem, what are we gonna do with Rake? Because Rake doesn't have an ambulance service either, and then that will be the.
Well,
largest
Rake is,
community.
you can't have it everywhere. Thompson's
Exactly.
14 miles closer than Forest City is for Rake.
Yep, but they're 7 miles farther, or 10 miles farther than the Buffalo Center
The
ambulance.
first responders and the volunteer ambulances are still gonna have to do something. I mean, that's,
okay.
we're not replacing them all.
he's the chair, I can't vote.
Yes.
I just, speaking from the budget wise and whatever, where's this money gonna come from? And what if we can't find people? What if nobody applies? Then what's gonna happen to anybody?
There are people who are gonna apply, always have been.
I feel like that's not right. I mean, if people wanted to apply, wouldn't they already volunteer?
No,
I mean-
they're applying for jobs. There are paramedics that work other places that will come and work
But
for our
hasn't Forest
service.
City always had ads in the paper and they can't find people? I mean, I live here and know that.
Oh, we gave up with advertising, what, a year ago for the open position?
I mean, so I'm not trying to argue either. I'm not. I'm just worried that if
Because these
These
now,
people
can I
will-
finish too, please? So if Winnebago County becomes an employee of record, who's their department head? Where, if we don't have people, if there's sick people or somebody, what's gonna happen? And if you spend the whole levy on employees, where's the money gonna come from for the insurance, the ambulance supplies? I'm asking, please.
We were spending the whole,
Well, I as a citizen have a right to ask this.
I was gonna answer part of your question before you get so many questions piled up that I can't keep track of them all.
Okay, I'm done.
No, go ahead.
You have all the answers.
No, I
nobody
didn't
else
say I
does.
had all the answers. There isn't a perfect thing to this, and we'd already found it. Alls I know is,
So why can't you go with what was given, so it'll start now, and then in a year from now, if you and Buffalo Center and Thompson and other people feel that it isn't working, then maybe do it. But for right now, from what I hear, you guys have a decision, go with it, and then see how it goes. Nobody knows how it's gonna go,
the
nobody's
people
known
that
the
make
last
that
50
decision
years.
change their minds.
But that's okay, it's not in a public meeting, so technically you can go with what you guys voted on. And then just start it
No,
and
I
be
don't
done.
have to go with what they voted on, it's just a recommendation.
So when you visited with all these people, here's the thing, there's a 120-day notice to cancel that. That's what's in the 2080 agreement. Either party, Forest City Ambulance, Forest City, Winnebago County. At any given point, we can say, you know what, guys, this isn't working. We're done. Here's our written notice, right, Kelsey?
Yeah, I
You're the
think
smart kid
there's
here.
a termination provision. I'll have to pull it up and see what the number of
There was
days.
120 days. I gave someone 4 months to do your financial studies. We're staring down the window of a new fiscal year in a week and a half. Can we get something going? I understand you're very upset that City of Forest City isn't doing $100,000. Can we get something rolling and make provisions with this as it goes to float? That's all we're asking, so that on July 1, we know where the money's coming from, how it's gonna happen, what's gonna go down the tube. If Dan Yegi really is upset about it, or Billy Jensfold is really upset about it, then the advisory council can meet, make a recommendation to terminate contract, and start redrawing the plans. Am I not wrong on the termination thing? I'm right.
No, that's there.
Termination.
Yeah.
You didn't need to ask her, I can told you that. But as far as hiring paramedics, I think you guys would probably be able to hire a few if it weren't for some of the personality conflicts that are there.
Well, number one, I will tell you right now, the one that you keep talking to, there's a reason he was terminated at Forest City, at Britt, and Lake Mills, at Mayo. He's worked a lot of different places with a lot of terminations and
So
closed
you.
doors. Do I have a closed door, though? Do I have a closed door?
You've been voted off the Buffalo Center ambulance 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3
You guys are
times.
getting
Well, no, I mean,
into
you
stuff
need to
that-
get your
Stop.
facts straight,
Both of
Billy.
you, stop. This is not an appropriate discussion, so move on.
So I've said from the very first meeting that I went to this EMS at the library
Thompson.
in Thompson, from the very beginning, I didn't think we needed to reinvent this wheel. I think I've said it at almost every meeting. I don't think we need to reinvent this wheel. In my personal opinion, we can make it work as long as we're like very flexible in these 120 days. Because there's gonna be all sorts of shit that's gonna come up. And we're all smart people. We're all caring people. It's time to, in my opinion, it's time to shit or get off that pot. And just make it happen and make sure that everybody knows that things are gonna evolve.
Evolve and hopefully improve.
Just going back to my previous comments, that was the part B of it. Like I say, you've had those discussions, put them to rest. Break this down to the core topics. Employer of record, whatever. You got 4 or 5 core topics. Bang out each one of those, That's it.
Susan, do you think this is an actionable item today, or is this a tabled item on number 9?
I was fine with it being a discussion today without possible action
And
at the beginning of the day.
what do you want to see done until it is an actionable item?
People cooling off, being able to discuss it.
The levy was meant to augment
RMS services, not change who pays for it.
And that is something I think can happen at a discussion with the city council. All of the city councils, we should be scheduling to meet with, Lake Mills, all of them, Thompson as well.
Could you have one big meeting with all the cities at the same time? I don't know that answer.
Yes,
Yeah, as long as you post notice.
yep, we can.
Probably even better.
You know, because then you get every voice from the three, would you just have the 3 towns or would you have all 7 towns?
I'd say all 7, make it fair.
7,
They're
yeah.
all
If I lived in
important.
Scarville, I'd want to be involved.
We can have those numbers on what the percentage of calls and is from each.
I like that idea.
Well, the percentage of calls is almost exactly equal to the percentage of the population. Buffalo Center's 8% of the population, they're 8% of the calls. They should pay 8% of the paramedics bill. It's about
That would be-
16,000 for them.
That's what the discussion would be. With no threats. Ideally.
Where would such a meeting be large enough to hold? I was thinking the Brandon Iron place, not the Brandon Iron.
Roundup.
Oh, the roundup room, yeah.
Would that be big enough to hold?
Oh,
it
yeah.
in there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, center of the county.
Just don't hit a council meeting night, I ask.
Well, I was gonna say,
Mondays,
it would have to
Tuesdays, and
be
one
an
town
email
meets
to
Wednesdays.
the city clerk to find out when a good time would be.
Let's make it
All
happen.
right.
I think it's a great
And
idea.
we'll schedule that meeting and, just, do we need to finish 8 or can we just, table all 3, 8,
I
9, and
think
10?
all 3 are table.
I think so
All right.
too.
At this meeting, do you need I've not been to these meetings, so I don't know. Do you need this advisory committee there? Do you need the technical committee there?
The
Do you need
public,
any
the public
EMS?
is invited. I would say the technical and the advisory council are encouraged to be there to listen and offer any answers for questions.
Half of the advisory or technical committee is people from cities.
Oh.
The other half is the.
We have one
So,
representative. from
Yeah,
the city
like I
on
said,
that
I didn't
technical
know. I don't know
So
who
it'd
would
be
want
good.
to be invited
They're all
to this
invited.
meeting.
But to have the whole council here would be beneficial, so they all understand it too.
And maybe you don't want public, maybe you want it to be.
Oh, we want to
It
It has to be
Yeah,
public,
maybe.
has to be, it's an
Sorry.
open meeting.
Sorry.
But it would be our meeting, inviting them.
And
Oh.
I'm guessing every one of them's gonna have to post it, because they're all gonna be
Yeah,
there.
posted.
Which the clerks would do.
And everyone probably has different rules on, for instance, Forest City would be there participating in our meeting. They would have to open their own meeting. I don't know,
At
other
the same
city
time.
councils probably wouldn't have to, but they would.
Yep.
There's differences on how they do their meetings.
Bring your own gavel.
So 8, 9, and 10 have been tabled, right?
Mhm.
When is there going to be action on it? Or what meeting are we?
Money isn't here till October 1st.
Okay,
I would say after this council meeting.
We have it so that we can do an interloan fund to use the money ahead of when the money's going to be here.
and I'm not even worried about the money, I'm just worried about the plan. Like, I know the money's gonna be there, it's tax money, it's gonna come
And
in.
unfortunately, we have to worry about the money. How
I
people are
understand.
equitably represented.
But I'm more worried about the actual plan.
And the best way to augment this thing is to keep as much money in it as possible.
So this couple of people or group of people that are putting together this other plan should probably have their fiscal setting done and in place to explain to the people how it's gonna work.
And when are we thinking the big meeting's gonna happen? Like in the first half of July, but I mean, like, what do we have for a goal? Like the first half of July, October 1st?
I was thinking if we could do it,
27th or, no,
we do have the worst calendar.
no, it's the whole.
We just need better tape.
I was thinking, how about Wednesday, June 28th? If we can get that.
How about Tuesday?
One of the towns.
How about
has a
Wednesday?
But I don't think it's.
But maybe they could have their council meeting after or schedule thing.
And the only reason I ask is, I know as Forest City Ambulance,
Wednesday, June 28th.
there's been things we've been pushing off and waiting for the, like, there's a lot of stuff that's, well, let's wait till next week when there's a decision made. Let's wait. So we're just wondering.
As soon as something fair and equitable comes up, the decision will be made.
Wednesday, June 28th.
Week from tomorrow.
If we can get all the city clerks.
Yeah, typically all the city council meetings are within the first 3 weeks, I think, of their month, so.
They should be done with the month, so you're saying?
That they
So they
probably
should
won't have a
already have it in
conflict.
June, yeah.
Five thirty,
5:30.
is that what you were thinking, was that time we've done it
Or
before?
shooting for the roundup room.
Yeah.
Jennifer Ackerman has joined.
Them to see if it's available. That'd be the first call.
Yeah. Is,
Hi, this is Jennifer Ackerman. I'm listening online, and I'm just wondering. Oh, they can't hear me.
You can,
No,
you
we
can
can
hear
hear
you,
you.
Jennifer, go ahead.
Oh, you can? Okay. I'm just wondering what this meeting of all the city councils is going to accomplish to move this forward.
well, Bill wants the cities to pay for his plan.
That wasn't necessarily what I said. I said that the rest of the cities need to get on board in the future, just like the city of Forest City is. Because that's what's fair. Now, the rest of them are all getting taxed 75 cents that they weren't getting taxed before, so their taxes went up too.
That's where I saw it.
So the auditor's office will send out a notice to the tech committee, the advisory council. Some will get more than one invitation for sure, but through groups, and then all the city
Well,
councils will be
I mean,
invited.
it would be sent to the city clerks,
Right.
who would send it to their But we want to invite the.
But we want
Technical
everybody that's been
yeah.
involved so far.
And Jennifer does the technical committee.
Right.
So is there gonna be like essentially telling the city councils that this is a mandatory meeting? Because we've had these before with real poor turnout, especially from cities like Rake, Lake Mills, Thompson. I mean, almost every town other than Forest City has had poor turnout at these so-called main meetings.
Thompson has almost always had Mike there.
Okay, one representative, but as far as like to make an action, to make a movement with the council, are we going to have some kind of like, this is a mandatory thing? We're deciding the fate and you're either gonna get past the bill if you don't show up to have a part in this, let's say.
Make anything mandatory, but it can be highly suggested that it's important for them to be there.
But I think that's a good point to state why. It would be to your advantage to be there. I think that would be.
We're gonna assign financial
Oh,
responsibility.
that part, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to come up with a way to get everyone there, because we've done these before and no one shows.
We can't do anything but just keep trying.
Plan.
But it's sometime we're gonna have to do, like, we have to.
The suggestion was that we meet with the city council.
Yeah.
So we're trying to jump on that and make that happen and invite the rest of them and So that was a suggestion that came out.
I get it, I'm just
I know, everybody's tired. Everybody's tired of
more
it,
than
Jonah.
tired.
Oh, I guess.
Everybody's tired. Let's just keep, we're getting close. Let's just keep on.
So 28th of June.
I guess I don't understand why we can't move forward with the plans that have already been hashed out, already in place, and then move forward from there, speaking with the cities and evolving instead of trying to get everything perfect now before we start, when it's never going to be perfect now before we start until we get into it.
That's what I was trying to say. Thank you, Jennifer. Like, can
Yeah.
we not move forward with what we've already and evolve it and change it?
Will it evolve and change? There's a lot of people that are skeptical on that.
Well, 100% it will. It
But,
sits at the power of you three. You can end the contract and stop the funding
And I'm
at
trying
any
to
time.
get it to evolve and change before it happens.
I don't know how you can do that without getting into it to see how it goes. We can't make it perfect without knowing how it's gonna
I've
go.
said many times, this levy was to augment.
It is.
Jim asked not to change who pays for it. Basically, that's all we've done is change who pays for it.
No, it is not basically.
Yes, it is. All right, well, I guess we've tabled that.
So we can't put it on the agenda for next week because that meeting will not be
Nope.
held?
Nope.
So it'll be at least the first one of July?
Worst case scenario is we don't spend any of the levy money. You take that long. All right, we'll move on to number 11. Consider for approval fireworks permit for Three Fingers Campground, July 1st to July 4th.
You guys don't need me for anything.
Jennifer Ackerman
I don't believe-
has left.
I'll make a motion to approve the fireworks permit for Three Fingers Campground for July 1st to 4th.
I'll second it.
A motion from Jensen, and a second from Derby to approve the fireworks permit for Three Fingers Campground from July 1st to July 4th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, consider for approval, semi-monthly county claims.
Can we do this MOU quick? So
Oh.
Oh, you wanna get on to
Back
that?
to work.
All right.
Okay.
Number 15, consider signing MOU with Jailers Union.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Short and sweet, this is what we're looking at, and as you read it, basically it's just a change for the jailers' work schedule or work hours from, right now, in a work week, they hit 40 hours, then it's overtime. So now we just want to switch it from 40 hours to 80 hours at the end of 2 weeks. That'll give us more wiggle room for a better schedule, more consistent schedule, and we're getting up to speed, full staff there, so it's a win-win all the way around, I think. And like I say, Steve, our jail administrator, Steve Wilquist, can explain, fill in the holes better than I, but short and sweet, that's what it is, just and Artie's here, the Teamsters rep, so.
This comes with a recommendation from the membership. I haven't voted them yet because we're just presenting you a proposed MOU. But if the county is on board with something of this nature, then I would vote the membership and, before the end of the week, hopefully.
I see this as a benefit for the county. I mean, I think it will probably save on some overtime.
It will.
People will be able to be scheduled on a through a better process, really.
And honestly, I'm gonna go to, it's 3 on, 3 off, 3 on, 3 off. They know what their schedules will be like if they wanna stay on that shift
Plan.
a year from now. And what I'm doing is something that the Forest City PD tried years ago, and it worked out pretty good. I just did the first 2 weeks of August, and I have 3 people that are short 10 hours. Well, those are flex shifts. So they can pick and choose when they want to come in and make up their 10 hours. It won't be overtime because they have that in the 80 hours. Or I can tell them when they're going to flex. If somebody's on a vacation day and it's their day off, I'll just put them in and put them that way. So it's a common agreement between me and the staff, and it's going to help scheduling immensely because right now they're all over the place, and I can't get anything flowing with 8, 9 people in a 40-hour week, but I can easily make it. And then this also, when I took over 4 years ago, told Sheriff Peterson that I wanted 24-hour jail staff. Well, now with this schedule, I can do that. I can have 2 people on first shift, 2 people on second, and 2 people on third. And I have 24-hour coverage, and I think it's 18 of the 24 hours in a day. I have 2 jailers on duty. So that's huge. Safety for basically safety issues. So it's a huge benefit to the jail.
Being able to adjust the schedule like that will help you attract and retain your current employees.
Like I say, just for, we've all worked the swing shifts and bouncing all over schedule. And like I said, just if this can help with your family pattern, your sleep pattern, it's just, like I say, it's a win-win all the way around. And for us, at a moment's notice, like, okay, here's a committal and we're short-staffed, somebody's on vacation, we're scrambling to find a body, to have to take that person because we know it's going to be a 4-hour sit, if not longer, if they don't have a bed, or we have an inmate, that has to go to the hospital and we have to sit on them, and we can pull that person for a flex shift. Hey, you want to work that for your flex? It's like, again, it's just a win-win.
Okay, I need your motion to say pursuant to the FLSA 7K exemption. You make a motion for this.
That sounds easy.
Yep.
Yeah, but she said it,
That's the Fair Labor Standards Act.
I'll say that then.
Pursuant to the Fair Labor Standards Act is what my motion will say.
The 7K exemption.
7K exemption.
Yep.
Exactly.
Be it recorded that I said that. Not all in one fluent message, but
I'll second that motion.
Motion Derby and second Smith to
You all need to sign it.
accept the
accept the
memorandum.
memorandum of understanding with the Jailers Union as stated. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
your work on this.
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Very much.
We need to sign this then, or they got
The one right there that
I
Terry
can't
has.
sign technically until they vote on it, which is why I said
There
what
more
I
than
did.
one that has to be
Yes.
signed.
So,
Oh,
That's
I'm
why
we
sorry.
have to sign this one
Copies
too.
or one?
Carla,
Okay,
do you want
what's
them to sign
underneath?
both copies?
How
Yes,
about
please. Oh, sorry.
another one?
Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
I'll sign it. We leave it there with Carla in the pending queue.
Yep.
You get your vote.
Yep.
It's good.
Just
Sorry
like
about
the
that, I
contract.
didn't
Yep,
realize.
absolutely.
Then get copies to everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
And the sheriff.
See you boys back at the house.
That's it.
You can sign this.
Thank you, board. Much appreciated. Good to see you
Thank
again.
Do you want to sign that?
Technically, I can't sign it until the members vote,
Oh,
which is why
gotcha.
it's gonna sit in the pending desk at
I didn't hear that part.
the auditor's office, so. Okay, good to see you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carla.
Thanks, Artie.
Thanks, guys.
And then you can have, sorry, and you can sign yours too.
Now this one, they get got stamped.
There's 2 of them.
Open forum.
Open forum. I already gave some stuff, yep. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for your input, Steve.
You don't have to stamp. We don't stamp those.
No, just he needs to sign them.
I would say, you like this.
No.
I do, but I have questions sometimes on which one. The DNR.
We don't even stamp the
Received
DNR
or
ones.
anything?
No.
Just for information.
Yep.
I'm just gonna tell you, I may never get good at that. Mostly because I don't understand what claims you release and file as a group as a receipt. You can start emailing those.
I didn't get a chance to ask the road crews what was all the big expenses with the cat dealer. One was 35,000, the other one was 22,000.
Wasn't one of them like supplies or something?
They were listed under a number, but like
Yeah.
number 330.
Well, it would be in those
Yeah.
that I send you.
Let's see. I looked at it online. I was just wondering what the actual expense.
Oh, I see. I see.
Just kind of stood out. Yeah, they have
The
the
rear end out or something like that, or?
parts, 330. Oh, so parts and labor were two separate
Yeah.
items.
Yeah.
How much was it?
Was that a transmission or something? 330 or 34,800 and some for parts and 22,000 for labor.
That's
They must have-
nothing, go fix a combine.
Must have took a transmission or rear end or something out.
You gotta stamp these parts and sign underneath it.
Oh, should I do it all the way in the back?
Well, we'll just do next to it
Does it
below.
matter if I overlap the numbers?
I don't think it matters there.
And I'll just.
I have them all saved, so if anybody ever needs to know what the exact number was.
So you'll have to sign somewhere.
Sign this one too.
I'll make a motion to approve the semi-monthly county claims.
I'll second.
A motion from Derby, a second from Smith to approve the semi-monthly county claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
There's a lot of claims coming through there.
Yeah.
Drainage ones.
It's been so dry that they can do a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of work. That's just because they can. And a lot of things showed up with that heavy rain.
Uh-huh. That sure did.
Contractors will all be getting new trucks.
Mistake and sign that one.
Oh, she didn't sign it.
Or Sue need to sign that one.
Yeah, she just said this.
I don't think anything's been too pricey or anything.
We received any billing at all from our some contracting on that? Not yet.
I don't think they've done enough work yet.
What did Colin say about the engineer fees on that one?
On 92,
Yeah.
that it would just be as to right now. I mean, if the landowners agreed to abandon the project, it would just be the engineering fees up until then.
Okay, and have we gotten that bill? That,
That's 89.
No, I don't think we have.
Did Colin start that or did Rick start that?
Call.
thank God for that rain. My grass is actually growing now.
How much did you get?
We got 1 1/4 total.
9/10 in Buffalo.
Did you get anything on Sunday?
That 1/4 inch was.
We got a drizzle on Sunday is all we got, but we still had 1.2 on Saturdays. And I heard Thompson, they got 1.2 with half an inch on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Downpour. I had done a bunch of tiling for downspouts at the school. Got it done just in time. Work is great.
Yeah, mine too, because we're harvesting all of the water from the roof of my house to fill the pond.
Oh, nice.
So that they put such drains in on both sides of the house, and then that will fill the pond. So I was so excited about it. It was raining. I went down there to see if the water was coming in the tile that was
See if it was
going
working.
to it. I'm like,
So this is the one you're looking for, right?
Yep. 665.
That was just for that month,
Oh, that
which is good. That means he didn't have to do anything that month.
Okay, so what is this about?
Oh, that's the next item on the agenda.
Oh,
The raises,
oh,
appointments.
that's number 14. I'll make a motion to approve the sale of the.
We already did that.
We did? Oh, how'd that happen without me marking it up?
Oh, you seconded
You even voted, yeah, you seconded it too, yeah.
Subliminal. us to put baby pictures up on the wall so we can, I'll see them. On my new TV, I can cast my phone, or, phone pictures, so sometimes I just put his picture up there, giant on the wall.
I have one of those moving picture frames.
Oh, yeah.
I can just send pictures to
I
you.
like that too, I have one of these too. Hello. Oh my gosh, and all that hair, I love that.
It's like somebody's pulling on his toes or something.
That's funny.
Did you stamp all those approved?
He's looking at that one before we,
Okay.
I didn't stamp any.
Okay.
So, yeah, they've been very good about sending me one, or two, or three, every day.
Love it.
It's a good thing for face.
He's looking at this.
Leslie will take the phone and run down the hall.
Oh.
And you're like,
oh.
I put a wife there.
You're making Grandma dizzy.
This is the other one I got yesterday morning.
Oh. What is she?
Daddy.
Yeah?
I put baby pictures side by side, went home and,
Oh, that's bad.
yeah, that will too change, I'm sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the raises and appointments as presented.
Second.
Motion from Derby and second from Smith, to approve the raises and appointments as presented. All in favor, say aye.
The only one stamped received is Sue McCullis.
Is that again?
I don't know. The rest of them are approved.
Take it off. You just fill signs?
Come over, so they're all in order. Probably best just to do that way.
We need to request a tour on it then. Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you been out there at all?
I have not, I drive by all the time.
I pulled in. Smile at that.
I'll have to do payroll.
That payroll ones then, Terry?
We're
That's
starting
payroll
payroll.
ones, okay.
So that wasn't to include him in that resolution today though, or was it? I'm just curious.
You mean, as an administrator, he's not.
So that was not about.
Steve Blomquist is, he's not in that agreement that we approved with the union. He's not in the union, right?
Right.
My phone started speaking English to me. I need to get a speaking app. I don't know what.
It's 11.
We're on the home stretch.
I see we're gonna have to update this list here. You got Joe Crow down for Thompson City Hall.
Oh, yeah. I made a new sheet a while back, I must not have a copy for him. There were some other changes. Make a motion to approve the payroll claims.
I'll second that.
Smith, and second Gerby, approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
People like getting paid. You never volunteer to. This is gonna be here.
Yeah, they're in the hall. They're just like,
There's a stamper.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna mention a data period either.
I
I thought maybe your wrist was hurting that way, so you decided to write it instead.
It's good exercise.
Right?
It's just that as I get going doing it, sometimes it gets a just sloppy.
you know, if you just went into my vault before the meeting,
Or you could just keep it here.
You have to lock it up.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Oh,
we put it
sorry.
in the vault for,
I didn't know.
I just keep mine in my bag when I really need it.
I mean, if I remembered to bring it, I could bring it, but I don't remember
I
that.
thought about getting up and going on my bad. Just,
I dare you to get up now. The last few.
yeah, yeah.
Take you longer to go get it than just.
There's only 99 of them there, Joe.
Yeah. And then all the claims and stuff.
Right?
I guess that's why the chair gets a little extra, right? Wearing the wrist up.
That's a good thing it's only a year at a time, so we get a little reprieve under this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got 2 years to heal up.
Right. Maybe your wrist goes, oh, we're back again.
Well, at least my wrist doesn't hurt like it did a year or so ago. Yeah.
Have them come in.
Okay. I'm gonna take this too.
Should I tell about the ice cream dessert we had at our Board of Health?
Allison did a great job.
I think it was probably for our birthday.
What's this under healthy alternatives?
It was not healthy
Yeah, yeah.
at all.
That was a good breakfast.
So I don't know what the recipe is,
Probably
but you
more
might
of a
wanna
mental
all
health thing.
look it up. You take ice cream bars, you know, just the, like from Schwann's or whatever, and you layer them in a cookie, or a Cool Whip 9 by 13 pan. Lay them in there, put Cool Whip on them, sprinkle
And then
whatever.
you can put any candy bar you want crushed up.
Yep, and then another layer of ice cream bars and Cool Whip and candy bar.
And
another-
then fudge and caramel on top.
So when you say ice cream bars,
Those frozen sandwiches,
sandwiches, okay, ice cream
Sandwich, that's what I mean.
and then you put it in the freezer.
Cookies, yeah.
And then you put it in the freezer, and it was amazing.
They had the day before, we had a in-service for the home care aides.
Oh, and you only ate that much out of it?
More discipline.
I'm telling you, it was really good. You know what, I like the idea of it. How much time did that take?
Yeah, she did, and she used two actually different kinds of ice cream bars, she said. I couldn't tell the difference. Salted caramel was one of them.
How many layers was it?
Two.
Just two? Stealing that. So do we just need to tell him to come in? Yeah. He's on his way.
I'm gonna move this over here so that we can
utilize
use
the
this table.
Come on in,
Hi,
we're ready for you.
okay. I wasn't sure how we were gonna have this, right? The thought today was to do a final design meeting to iron out some questions, but I guess it's up to you guys what you wanna do. You know, how far you wanna go into it, but I've got Joe Capon, mechanical electrical engineer, Chris Allen with Veenstra and Kim. So for civil questions, just wanna make sure we're all on the same page and looking at things right, so. Chris, why don't you go first with just whatever questions you have. I did send Terry, you and Carla their last layout, right? Emailed that to you. We've got, Tom, did you bring theirs in big print? Chris's?
Yes, it's in here. It's all part of the other one.
So if you recall, we got, was it 5 parking spots on the south side?
Yes.
And then 3 on the north side, and we did the 3 on the north side to make that sidewalk handicap accessible through there. We had to get rid of 1. but
Can't
at
find
least-
6 more, huh?
No, I guess I didn't. This is,
Okay.
I had that.
Hook up.
We don't have, Chris, we don't have.
I didn't
this
bring
stuff.
any large ones, no.
We'll just, okay, go ahead and,
And I only have 2 sets, but
We can share that.
We'll all look at it.
so as Gary said, we reduced the north side parking down to 3 spots from 4 to improve the ADA requirements of the sidewalk. We've expanded the south side parking to accommodate 2 ADA stalls that are compliant. The existing stall is not compliant that's out there, so we're replacing with 2 new stalls. We are planning on adding roof drains and a few intakes to handle some of the on-site stormwater issues, new sewer service, new water service. And then we're gonna add a retaining wall on the east side of the site to accommodate some of the grading challenges. And we've kind of minimized the height of the wall by importing some fill and making some of it up with dirt work versus wall to reduce cost. So I guess as far as the site side, we're just looking for some buy-in, anything you want changed before we wrap this up and send it out to bid.
Did you talk about the driveway? I don't know if I missed that.
The new driveway.
Yeah.
So the new driveway is very steep. It's like 17-18%. And
The old driveway?
yeah, the existing driveway. And so as part of this and improving the parking lot, we are taking out that driveway, replacing it, lowering the sidewalk down a bit. I think you have to look on there. I think we've got it down to 10% from 16 and 17%. So it's about, 2/3 or a third or half of what it was. So it should improve the in and out.
So how will that make the transition to the adjacent parking lot to the south? That'll be
The asphalt.
I mean, when you come in and you say you wanted to.
We're removing that portion next to the driveway and dropping everything down. So this right in here is all new and getting lowered. Obviously, it's matching the asphalt here. And then this is our removal limits right there.
So if somebody was coming out here, it'll be.
Yep.
Manageable.
Yes.
Chris, is anything on someone else's property being done?
No.
It's all.
Oh, well, the existing driveway and some of the concrete
Yeah.
is in that alley.
Yeah, the alley,
That
but
is
not.
our driveway is the alley.
Right, yeah, but not on the church parking lot.
Correct.
Nothing's being done. That was the main thing.
Goes right to the lot.
So that's nice to have that much more gradual slope there. That's a good change. It's obviously a cost though, and I don't know, Chris, at this, it's not feasible, if you leave it, for instance, and do it as an alternate price, does that impact a lot of what you have?
Yeah, we would have to bid 2 separate grading plans.
Okay.
Because we've lowered that driveway about a half a foot at the sidewalk.
Okay. So, we hadn't really talked about doing that, overall, but in the end, it's a better solution for what you have to replace it. But if you do want to explore it as an alternate price, we could look into that.
I personally don't think we have a better option.
It's a bad driveway.
It is,
Leaving it's not an option.
Yeah, I would
have a
agree.
truck and it doesn't like going over. So I can imagine what people with small cars.
It's still not going to be perfect. I like to see the driveways under 8% in town, but it's an improvement over what's there. It's a unique site with unique challenges due to the elevation difference.
And we've explored a lot of other options outside of this, and if this is our only option, we felt like we could.
Now, the extra parking spot does add more retaining wall, needs to relocate the sign, but I didn't see that as being, the sign wasn't a real game changer, I didn't think. Because you can move it as it is, you could do 2-sided lighted sign, things like that. In the end, having 5 parking spots there is nice, I thought so. And again, as Chris mentioned, they've done some grading work to help the height of the retaining wall to help with cost too.
Where you showed the sanitary and the water, I ended up moving a little bit further to the north. Hopefully that's not a problem. It looked to me like you just plunked it downtown.
Wherever you need us to.
I set up so I got a straight shot in and out of the building without any offset to get where you.
We will adjust. It's your plans are final.
Where does you talked about the downspouts, and where does that eventually go?
So talked with the city yesterday to confirm that it was okay. So between the new building and the existing building, there's kind of an awkward area that the two front doors are gonna make a flat area in there. So ultimately, we have to get some storm sewer pipe up in there to put a couple intakes in there to ensure that the front doors stay dry and that does not become an icing issue. So since we are bringing pipe up to serve that area, we are going to hook the downspouts into the on-site storm sewer, and in the northeast corner of the site, in that radius of the existing road, is a curb intake with a 15-inch storm sewer pipe in it. So we are going to connect to that, and use that as our site's outlet.
What size pipe are you connecting?
I believe at 12.
And that's collecting all of the downspouts on the addition.
Correct.
Right. And then there's one in the northeast corner of the existing building?
I believe we are picking up 2. There's one at the front door and then one on the northeast
Okay,
corner of the addition, or the existing building.
but nothing else through the existing?
Correct. We would have to tear out more pavement and do more. I mean, we can certainly look at doing it.
There's no issues with drainage now, is there otherwise?
None.
Okay, so if we collect what's at the connection point, that's the main thing.
Right.
Overall. Okay. All right. The retaining wall material, did you bring?
I did not.
Okay, so basically, just think about a regular retaining wall that you would see in a house. The type of block, it's about 6 inches tall, 12 inches long, something like that, rough face, just standard stuff. That's what we're looking to use for
Economical.
that. Yeah, nothing big, nothing structural really is needed, so.
So it won't need like a topper on the top of it or anything?
Yep, we'll cap
Still
it.
need the capping?
Yeah, we'll do that.
So
Yep.
this isn't the smallest size, I think they're 4x8.
Right.
You're going to the 6x12.
Yeah.
Which has more strength.
Mm-hmm, yep. And there's options of flat face or curved edges, we can go through that, but right now I think we're just gonna do the straight face type.
Is there
Little,
design that requires some kind of relief of hydraulic pressure behind the wall then to get the water away from behind the wall, or?
yeah,
Yeah, so a lot of the retaining walls are bedded in the back with clean rock, and then the blocks are stair-step back. And as part of the retaining wall installation, generally a drain tile is put in, or you leave weep holes to let it come through the wall. And so we can do either direction, whichever you prefer. We have pipe, we can put it in a pipe, or we can let it weep through and then ultimately it'll run across the sidewalk at that point. So my preference would be a footing drain.
Just want to make sure. I've seen projects fail because of that.
Correct.
and I think, Chris, it was about a 6-foot distance
We were 10 foot from the face of the building.
to the block.
Yes.
Oh, it got pushed out.
I believe so. I think it's labeled on there.
Yeah.
I think we're 10 feet away from the building, so you had plenty of room for air conditioning units, landscaping, a new site sign, etc. And that area above the wall is relatively
I showed 6 foot between the building
okay.
and the
So
wall.
we had it at 10, and I think sucked it back.
Well, yeah, it goes like this,
Yeah.
so
For the
over here
parking.
it would have been 10,
Yeah.
it kind of goes like this.
Yeah, so that's landscape area basically. All the air conditioner units are on the west side of the building, but you'll have a 6-foot area for landscaping, shrubs and things. At least somebody could walk through that area too. We're not planning on any kind of handrail at the retaining wall as a protection for somebody to walk around there. You know, it would only be maintenance and landscaping that would do that. But Chris, if I remember right, the wall itself is only 3.5, 4 feet above grade mostly?
Mostly.
Yeah, and then when it comes around the corner to the ramp, it'll be taller
Yeah.
because it drops down there. But you're not talking about real tall.
And
That's
then
a lot of lineal feet of wall.
Yeah, yeah.
But the further south you come, the shorter the wall gets and tapers out to nothing.
So outside the wall and up around the north corner, that's all mowable grass? then?
Yes.
Lots going on in this little piece of land. Chris, other sidewalks are not being touched, right?
Other than patching for the utilities,
Right.
the new driveway construction, obviously we're low on the sidewalks, so we have to replace a few panels of sidewalk there, but as a whole, no.
I didn't know whether or not you wanted a cohesive look to replace everything. I do not honestly remember what the condition of the sidewalk is. I really don't. I'm just wondering, Chris, how much is left and if there's
I mean, most of the east side is intact. If we decide we want to tear out more, that intersection has an ADA ramp, and it's not going to be a great one to make it 100% compliant without getting into the street. So it will open a can of worms if we go that route.
I think we avoid that if it's usable now.
Yeah, just leave it, do what we need to, and, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Look at it, Julie? Did you look at it? Do you want
Not
to
that
look
part,
at it?
nope.
And just as an update, the platted survey to create the parcel was recorded yesterday. So that is done.
Take down the tree.
So
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's
Not
not,
yet.
it's not transferred yet, I don't
It's not
believe.
transferred
A
yet.
parcel, but we have.
Right, there's a parcel that's available to transfer.
The paperwork's getting there.
Yep, it's getting there. We sent that to Tim, last Wednesday? So it should be getting close.
Is the tree removal, is that part of the project or is that separate?
It's separate.
I'm guessing you don't know exactly what their schedule is, though, for them to approve it?
I don't.
Okay. Do we want to move forward, or do you want to wait until you have something from them?
I think we can move forward. I think that it shouldn't be too long, the way it sounded
Okay.
from Kelsey.
I think between now and the next step, we probably be able to, if all things fell apart, the next step, we could probably, we have an out, don't we? If everything falls apart with the purchase process, your next step you want to do is move forward with the bidding process, right?
Right, the next thing the next formal step would be for you guys to set a public hearing.
Right.
And it's called tentatively approve the plans and specs for bidding. Where you say, yes, we'll move forward with the bid process, we'll set the public hearing. That's the next formal step. And I wasn't sure what your July 4th week schedule for a meeting was, whether or not that was something that we could target.
Is that going to be Monday or is that going to be Wednesday?
Well, I was hoping not to have one that week, but.
Yeah, and that's the thing, yeah. So I didn't know, if we hit that week or the week after, timeline of things, we would be having bids received early August and then just getting the contract and move forward.
But we can have one that week.
Okay, so when is the courthouse closed?
The actual 4th,
Just the 4th, they open on the 3rd.
the 3rd and the 5th.
Lame holiday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
The what day?
5th is not good for me.
Okay.
Trying to do it on the 2nd.
The 3rd.
That's a third.
The 3rd, I mean.
The 3rd.
I would try.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Maybe we can keep it to a short meeting.
Okay.
I I'm on vacation, but I will come over just for you guys.
I was just gonna say, I bet there's gonna be a lot of people that are taking that day
Yep.
off.
It's a fairly straightforward process. I mean, 2 motions basically
Yeah.
is all that's needed.
I don't know that Julie, you'd have to, but you can call in if you feel like it.
Call in, Julie.
From the campground.
That's exactly where I'll be. I mean, I'm only 6 miles that way, but
You may
I
want
can.
to mute it. Listen.
I believe baby is coming home that week, so.
Well, I think that sounds like a plan. We'll just do our regular meeting up to Monday. and
Monday.
Keep the process moving.
Okay, all right. Then I will set up a schedule, then I'll let you know, probably before the end of the week, what we would be looking at for a public hearing, bid date. I usually like to have bids on Thursday, if that's okay. Like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, it's up to you. We would just have them brought to the auditor's office and then open them up in here like we did for the re-roof.
And is that something that we meet to do?
Usually we'll just do the bid opening and then the next Tuesday.
Present the results.
Yeah, the next Tuesday you would then go through that, if you want to award or table or whatever. Yeah.
How many segments to this bid process? Is it just one general contractor for the whole thing, or is there separate bids for anything?
I was planning on just one bid, the general. Yeah, that was it. For this size of project, it's the cleanest way to do it. One source responsibility in essence that way.
The public hearing, does it have to be 4 and 20, or 4 and 10, or is it 10 and 20?
The notifications?
Yeah.
It's 4 and 20, I think.
Okay. Because we would have to get a notice to the paper by tomorrow in order to get our 4 days.
Well, the public hearing would be before you do awards.
Okay, so not for a while yet.
Right, it would be
Okay.
at that August meeting where you do the
I
award.
thought you meant like we needed to have it like,
Oh, yeah, I
like,
know.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we're
On
good
the
then.
second, we would set that then?
Okay.
On the 2nd, yes, we would set the public hearing date. Yeah, or the 3rd, yep. Yeah. Now, something just to clarify too, at the re-roof project, Casey wanted 20 days before a pre-bid meeting. And then the bidding timeline after that. I wasn't planning on doing a pre-bid meeting for this project. And so that's why I was thinking about the timeline of giving 3 weeks to bid, just push it through. Just keep it going. You know, this is fairly straightforward. People should get on it. So the notification then, yeah, as soon as on the 3rd when you do it, you know, when you release the project at the public hearing date, that week you could get a notification out. And we begin within that timeline, the 4 and 20. Yep. So I will look, I think it'll be somewhere around August 3rd maybe, we would have the bid date, something like that. But I'll take a look at overall because the printer the printers are closed on the 3rd. I already talked to them about that. So I get it to them on the 5th and then they can get their process going. Okay. I think we talked about this liquidated damages for the project. Just wanted to clarify. So in case it goes over a contract date, you know, we're seeing projects because of some delivery stuff just going crazy. I would recommend not doing liquidated damages for it. That's your call. The timeline that I see giving them because of contract approval, they'll start construction before the end of August, and I was thinking about giving them 11 months. So somewhere around August 1 of 24 is what I had for substantial completion that summer. And I was thinking that timeline just because of, again, people getting stuff. Showing
So
up.
how is this gonna work? Are we gonna try and not do substantial tearing up of the parking lot for a while?
Mhm. Actually, yeah, I was talking to Chris about this. What I want to do, and what I've outlined is a minimal amount to do the building addition. But they could use it for staging, but the front door has to be accessible.
So, yeah, so we would allow them to tear a little bit of the parking lot up to get the footings in, sewer, water, but the green would stay until 2024.
So you still always have this access.
And more than likely spring of 24.
Yes, yeah. They really wouldn't do it until that summer, that spring, summer.
Just wonder if they have enough lay-down area there, you know, to stage things.
Oh, yeah, I would see them using it as staging. That's about it. Unless it goes to the south parking lot.
Staging?
Well, yeah, there's a good chance that, I guess if, they have to set up somewhere. You know, they're gonna have equipment running around there. The front door to the public health has to be accessible, period. You know, luckily you got the south one, but the front door, we're stating, they have to keep that accessible till the end, till they're doing the final bit of paving. But the contractors have to set up somewhere. And unfortunately, that would be the best spot, is right where the paving that would stay. But if you prefer that stays more so for the clients, then we need to tell them that. And then they have to figure out how to do their staging.
We won't have much for
Parking them.
parking at all for a while.
Right, that's the tricky part.
Well, there's enough room on the north side for staging equipment and materials.
A little bit it's a matter of getting the foundations in. You know, the biggest thing is gonna be not let everybody show up at once with trailers and things. And I probably need to stipulate the fact that they cannot use the south parking lot, the church parking lot at all for staging.
Right.
So then they have to figure something out.
Unless they have a private agreement with them.
True, yeah. Yep.
Because we're still trying to get that hashed out with our agreement is with them.
Could some of the parking to the north be used for staging?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
That's,
Well,
yeah.
that's what you're talking about there.
It won't be parking yet, but
Yeah,
it'll be
just
open
be-
space.
Yeah, it would be.
No, I'm talking about the parking that's across the street.
No, the
School stuff.
School property.
Oh.
They own the lot across the street
Mhm.
to the north.
So they could ask them, contract would be their
It's not
option.
real level. It
Drive
slopes
by it
down
when
the
you
hill.
leave.
Yeah, slopes as the site does.
It's almost like we need to be possibly talking to the school about a first option of refusal, you know, in case we have to have parking in the future. That we should have some kind of an agreement behind the scenes in place to
Mm-hmm,
utilize that.
that's true.
I hate to open up another can of worms, but we can at least have some control of that space across. 'Cause if we lose our agreement with the Methodists, then what?
Mm-hmm, right.
You still have parking, you just don't meet code. But we still have parking, we just don't meet the code as far as having enough parking.
Right, yeah, the local code, yeah, but as you're working out with the church, the agreement to share, it'd be that sort of, well, I guess if you owned it over there, you may have to still get an adjustment, so to speak, to say that the property, well, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see, but I think contacting them would be good. You know, at least to say, could staging be used?
You know, they have on their lower level of the administration building, they have the alternative school operating in the basement part of that building.
Oh.
Up the hill there.
Okay.
And, so they've always wanted control of that lot in case they need more parking, whether they have any plans or not. But I see the building to the north of that's being developed for a business. So I don't know, they're gonna wanna have some more parking.
Do you know what that business is?
I don't know what the business, I know who's doing it, but I don't know what the business is. But they're putting a lot of money into that.
I see
what we will do is we'll tell them that the property to the south cannot be used for staging. Do you want that parking that's left to be for clients then only?
I think we almost need to.
Because I just have to tell them
Or at
that.
least a percentage or something, I mean, maybe it doesn't.
I mean,
all
I
have
can
to
see
be-
giving up a temporary for one day, you gotta get the truck in there to do the pumping of the concrete or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But not to have trailers parked there and things like that.
Okay, okay.
That could be forever.
What about the parking to the west? Is there, it's not really accessible from the site, but that whole big parking lot where,
It's city parking.
that's a city parking lot, where they let you.
Yeah,
trailers.
it's an agreement between the city and the Lutheran Church.
Yeah.
We're just looking on an aerial, is there a grass empty lot to the east? Maybe like,
Oh, by that, yeah, they took it out.
by the food bank, CEGW Investments?
Oh, you mean
Is that-
where
Yeah,
that building is?
Across the street, there's that grass.
Are you talking on the corner or right across from the
Yes,
driveway?
it would be straight east across the road from the new addition, in the southeast corner.
Well, there's a
That
building
intersection.
there that where the food bank is.
Yep.
Right, there's a spot right. That's a grassy area right up there.
How long is that?
There used to be a house there.
CGW Investments.
That sounds like what I think he owns the lot. He took down the house.
But
As far as
it's
city insurance.
a 66 by 100 lot sitting there.
Talk to Courtney about using for staging.
Probably all depends on who's, he's already got one contractor. He's probably got that's a good friend of his, so. It almost should be a private thing, if we just set our criteria, what we don't want,
Correct.
let them figure that out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't you guys think we should try to prioritize our parking there? That maybe a day at a time, they can utilize it just, for certain purposes, but not park
Yeah,
trailers on it.
absolutely. Yeah, I would say some kind of like 24-hour
Notice.
something, where if they're trying to unload things or like you said, backing a cement truck in or.
Especially like, when is the timeline that you think this is all going to like take place?
In a year.
Because you're talking like fall, that's our busy flu season time, flu clinics and things like that. So we would have to rearrange. So, I mean, if we know when, like if they would come in and say, hey, today's the day that we're gonna bring this, we'll just
Yeah,
work.
it's gonna be tough for them to give a extended schedule, but
Because it's September, October is gonna be the busy concrete period of time. Yeah. And I was thinking about telling them that could be temporary block for maximum 8 hours twice per week.
is there any possibility we could utilize your other rented space for the vaccines?
Uptown?
There's no refrigerator up there. You have to have a specific refrigerator to
Okay.
house those in the immunizations and vaccines. We could have them come through the south door
Yeah,
and do it that way.
Might have to do that if it's gonna be that time frame.
Yeah.
The other option we could do, once the shared parking agreement gets put in place, we could close the driveway to the public health and access it from the south, from the church lot, and temporarily restripe the alley to gain some semi-permanent parking spots for the duration of
do diagonal parking. there.
Correct, just continue the pattern and maybe gain a handful of semi-permanent parking spots for the project. Might be a happy compromise.
And that might work too.
And I don't know if we have to get permission from the city on that, we're already utilizing it as part of our parking, but nothing official that it's under the city's ownership, that alley. I suppose we could check with Public Works and see if they have a problem with that.
I'll look at that layout and see how many we can gain by temporarily painting that. How many do you think you would
That's
need?
another reason you need to be on the council agenda, is to just have them give us ownership to that stupid alley.
I mean, we can do appointments so that, and we'll spread the appointments out. I mean, we can work that way. And that's what we did during COVID, so we didn't have as many people coming in at one time. And if it's a nice day, we could be turned into a vaccine and there's flu shots out.
But it's
And it
also
costs too.
something we have to
So-
allow the Methodist Church
Nice days in September and October are gonna be hectic.
Right.
turn down that alley.
Yep. So, we'll make it work.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to.
Yeah, I would say,
Oh, I think we can do that.
Now you got that box there. That's electrical junction box. And then this area got mixed because of the slope. You have to get handicap ramps there and there. That's where we lost. Anything else on that?
On the site, no, I don't think so. Before we get to Joe, I do have a couple questions. Shingles. So right now, we do have some standing seam metal roof planned. The connecting corridor, that little piece there, we are bringing it down below the roof heap of the existing building and then the addition, so we don't have to touch it. So it's a low sloped roof, and I either put rubber on it, but I thought, why not just do standing seam metal? There's a system that would work for that. So the question that I have is, do we do asphalt shingles on the addition? And then, the metal roof, just leave that alone and not do anything else? Or do you want to entertain any kind of alternate price for metal?
So the pitch of the addition is gonna be what?
412, just like the existing.
And it's just the connection
Yeah,
that's gonna be the low slope.
yep.
And when you say low, what, 2?
It's like half 12.
Half 12.
It's down there, yeah. And there's a system that I've used before, standing seam metal that works just fine for that low slope. We talked about the idea of metal roofs before, and I just didn't know whether or not there's a desire to explore it.
Would that be a mono slope or?
It'd be a monoslope, yeah, to the north. I was gonna go with it. Yeah. It's not very big.
6 foot, I think, or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be 7 foot total of sheet metal, something like that. So yeah, it's not a lot by
So
any
the only place you could see it would be from the north, or from
Yep.
like WCTA's building.
Exactly, yes, that's it. Yeah. And I don't care, we could slope it to the south and collect, it doesn't matter to me, but we just picked one. But so the original plan was just asphalt shingles in on the addition, and that was it. But if you wanted to entertain a metal roof price for that, we sure can. It's just, where do you stop and start? Do you do the existing building too? We don't like to do too many alternate prices because it just takes up a lot of time and contractors get a little irritated with it. But that is one that if you so desired, we sure could.
How old are the shingles on the existing building? Anybody know?
I think Kevin,
they haven't replaced them since I've been there, and I've been there since
I think
it's built, so.
Kevin had indicated it was like in the last 15 years anyway.
It was built in,
Seemed like they were replaced once.
Did they replace it? I don't remember them being replaced, but it could have happened, and I don't remember.
18 years ago.
06?
Well, they're probably the original,
Well, we've had some hailstorms go through, so.
I'll bet you, unless that happened.
Yeah, and they could have went up there and done that, I'd
like to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I had thought of is we do the asphalt shingles, and if you wanted an alternate price to replace the existing building, that's a fairly straightforward thing to do. But it's up to you guys. You know, I don't know if it's a money availability that can apply toward it, or just, you know, when do you do
My
it?
guess is we're gonna be over what we already allocated.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And there's plenty of contractors around to do shingling, so
Mhm.
it's like.
It's a smaller amount, yeah. So I'm fine if you just leave the addition as asphalt shingles only, and then see where the numbers come in, and if you wanted to negotiate something, you could.
Standing seam in that
Yeah.
one section connecting.
That makes sense to me.
Do you want to do the same shingles that are on the courthouse roof, or do you want to do more of these are a little bit beefed up residential. They're stronger because of the wind factor. A standard shingle, you know, we put on most single-family homes or commercial buildings. You know, you can have, there's two different levels, and I just didn't know if you wanted to go with what's here. That's perfectly fine.
I think we need to have better shingles. They're a laminated, shake looking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's here. Yeah, it's just that they are thicker on this building. But if you want it to be cohesive, we sure can do that. We would just say this is the product and there's no alternatives. Now, that's up to you. If we go with just probably, you know, we're never going to match the existing color. We know that. But if we just do a typical, it's Malarkey is one product, or GAF, or Timberline. I mean, there's some basic manufacturers that we allow in. We can do that too. So it's your call.
I know there's certain ones I'm not happy with their warranty services.
Yeah.
Timberline's always been a good one that I've been happy with. But I can't do
So is
much
there
for
any reasoning to have the matching to, or what we've done here? I don't really understand that.
It's thicker than like a home type shingle.
Yeah, it's gonna look slightly different from roof to roof.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's more three-dimensional to it, I think.
Could be, yeah.
More depth in the laminates, I think. And
I don't think there's a benefit to this building because it's pretty straightforward. It's a simple slope.
That's where I
It's
was
not-
going. I don't think
yeah.
there's any benefit to it. I think it just needs to be simple,
Just-
clean,
Yeah,
neat.
just kind of do what most places would have. Yep.
if the shingles are still original on the existing part, then you know, you might entertain just having it all re-shingled at the same time, so the roof's the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know that number.
We could do that as an alternate price.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those shingles were put on there 8 years ago, you know, for whatever reason. If there was hail damage or something like that, then they're pretty new to cover up.
Do you remember, Julie? No.
I do not remember. And I do have to be a little bit before 12. And I have to speak out of here if you have anything for me.
I wanted to show you, so we talked about some door hardware. This is the mechanical button type of hardware that we talked about. This would be for the door that goes into the existing building.
Okay,
And then, I think I have it set up for the IT room,
okay.
that little closet that we did. And one other room, and I can't remember which one it was.
Storage, file storage.
I think file storage, yeah.
File storage.
File storage, yeah, yeah. Those three, so it's not a battery, it's just,
You punch in a number.
yeah, yep. You pre-program it, and you just punch in the code, and that's it.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking about,
Okay,
using there. The north door, we were going to do, the north exterior door, we were going to do
okay.
a card reader at that door, and I don't
The
know if
one that
that's
goes
still.
out towards the ramp, that
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still the plan or not.
It's whatever is to fit into the budget.
I think you're talking with IT.
Yeah, I think we were talking with Brody at that time, so whatever will work
Okay.
with,
What I was gonna do was set up, it's called an electric strike in the door. So we have a panic bar, outside the thing will have a lock, a key, and then there'd be an electric strike. We would make sure that there's conduit out, so if something went in later, you could do that. But to begin with, it would be a mechanical lock system.
okay,
But there would be the electric strike just allows it to deactivate without a key.
okay.
So we'll set it up so that at least it can work without that to begin with.
So you're thinking it's not gonna be part of the project to have the fob?
Well, that's, the whole thing is what is the door control system? Joe and I have done this where it's a control box that's tied into a computer system and it powers then that thing and it all relays information. It sounded like the IT person had a system that they wanted to use.
In other county buildings.
At another county building, yeah.
Right.
But how is that brought here? We don't know.
I have no idea.
So it might have to be separate, so it's
Yeah.
all one project when he's gonna do it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I don't know if he's in there now or not.
Well, I want to say, if she needs to leave, what I was thought we would do is, most important thing I wanted to get last year today was the voice data cabling and the receptacle layout for, where your desks are. And if she's leaving, and she's the decision maker, I would just give you this drawing, maybe you can sit down and review with your staff.
Oh, I could do that, yeah, with the staff,
Well, this
yeah.
is the user, for example, like in this office, that's a receptacle, and then the little
Okay.
triangle, that's where it's communicating.
Okay.
And so then if you got, and then, right,
Okay. So the triangle is the computer?
yeah.
Okay.
And so this
Yep.
would be like, either a copy or something like that, because that would
Perfect.
probably have a
Yep.
network printer
Yep.
or copier. And then.
Yeah, that will work.
Then in the treatment room, it's the fridge and the freezer need to be one of those generators. Okay, and that's the only two. So I'll just give you take a look at it.
Yeah,
Get with your
that's where
staff.
I'm meeting right now with the staff at noon, so.
Oh, so
Well,
you can
then
go through
just-
that, make sure
Exactly.
the computers, hookups are where you're gonna have computers.
Exactly.
And so then just, move this here, then that's what I'm looking for, or
Okay.
where's this at? Whatever, some
Okay.
special machine or some special need. I took a stab at the training room,
Yep,
location wise.
okay,
And then when you look, TR,
yep.
tamper resistant.
Oh, okay,
There's a new thing in the code. If you will be having little kids in,
yep, you have to have that.
it says
Yep.
everywhere. And then but we didn't put them in the private offices.
No, no.
We,
So
we,
there's a computer for here and a computer there, okay, yep,
and then charting,
yep.
and then
charting,
like,
yep.
okay, your equipment storage,
No.
you need to recharge something or
No,
anything
no,
like that.
no,
I'm saying, yes, those are things to, for you to
Okay.
consider. So you just take this one.
Yep, and I probably can get back to you in
Well-
about an hour.
Well, then, if you're okay with it, you can just photocopy, circle,
Okay,
email it to me, that's all.
okay,
Because what I have to do is I have to circuit all this stuff, and put circuit assignments, and
Okay.
conduit wire, all that.
Yeah.
And I didn't wanna do it and then have to redo it or tear
Yep.
it apart because I didn't have it where you wanted it, so that's kinda what I'm looking for.
so where is that one utility room that they were talking about, the IT?
The IT room is just went right
Right
there,
there.
and then this is where all
That's
the
the other one.
cabling
Okay,
will
yep.
be going back to.
Okay,
So then that's where your IT guy will.
I don't know how much time you guys want to take up for all of this.
Typically, like what we-
I do have to go too. I gotta run down to
Yeah.
Webster City now to go to the
3-foot
courthouse we're remodeling down there.
And I'm showing
Finally.
those.
But Tom's gonna stay. We do have some specific things to go over. Just, it won't be too long
I'm showing two
of
cables.
things, but
And,
glad
I
you're
got two
here.
jacks, like one's voice, one's
Yeah,
data.
that helps us a lot.
If you're part of your network, that's.
I think Chris, you probably got your answers.
It just, if you know, if you use it, it's there.
okay,
Well, I wanna move my desk over here, okay, so.
okay,
the
gotcha.
camera, Okay, and.
So I will plan on being up here till the 3rd of July.
I'm showing the
I
fire.
presume it would be 9 o'clock. You have a calendar?
Okay,
But this,
I guess
that's
it'll
what
be
you,
priority
what
on
you
the
can do
agenda.
is with your staff.
Okay.
It should be a pretty short, sweet thing.
Is everybody okay? And making a change later on ain't a big deal, I just didn't.
So like if they have a
freestanding desk in the middle, they'll have a
I
wide
may
range to that.
push the
We
bid
should
to
put something
the
that's more.
third.
Well, that's my thing.
And
If you don't really
then
have
do
a
the award on the seventh, that'd be the public hearing.
Then you see now
If-
if it's a contract.
Sometimes what we do with the award
You
is
gotta
we do in the
have-
form of contract. And what that does then is I write the contract, Casey reviews
That's what I-
And that's
it, they
easy
do
to do now.
it, they
because those
sign it,
for contract.
get it,
That's
bring
what I
it
was
back
thinking.
to Carla, and
What if
then
their desk?
you
what
can
if they
sign
want
it
their
right
desk
away
to
without
be
going through
limited?
another board meeting. That's one option to do it. The other thing
You
is,
can do that, right?
probably could get this whole thing contract written,
Is there more money to put it on?
if we do an
It's just an additional hour.
award on the
There's a little more
seventh,
expense because
I can get a
you
contract
gotta take a
distributed
little
that
tranche
day.
and you get a
They
special
may be able to
bond.
get the bonds back by
That, all
the
that stuff has to be wrapped in.
eighth. Oh, sorry, I'm off the day, sorry,
So
yep.
what they'll do is get wrapped in, and bring a conduit.
The 15th, if you needed to
Well, I
do
already
an
think
actual
we'll have to have one.
formal approval of the contract, I think we can get that fast, because I'd like to, if we can, unless the property
The
is
only one that
something.
won't will be this one, because hers.
We can get it
hers
done
is
that
already built
fast.
in, And this one is built in.
The other thing, just so you know too,
Just
is
decide,
the eighth,
direct middle or whatever, so you should draw all
don't
that.
have things on the contract final, just table it, because you got 30 days from the third. to make
But I
your
will double
award.
check with them.
Right, and it'll be
Good,
two
you got a little
conduits,
cushion there.
3/4 inch, and,
I think the construction
Some of them
timeline that I have would give you a little
before
bit
they
of
build the
leeway.
wall,
I'd still want to have August 1 next year,
They just gotta
be
get
the date.
the
Because it
box
sounds like
set.
the desk.
I don't wanna give them
that
one
you
more.
have, Just regular desk that you sit in, and don't put them
Digging
in.
out
You don't want a cord
right
running clear
away.
across the
Yeah.
wall.
Right, well,
Oh,
tripping
boy.
hazard and all
Right.
that, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay,
There's no
I will
requirement
check
if they
Okay.
decide
But I
to
have
start
to-
this spring and they can get it
got
done
3
by,
minutes to go over there, and then I will,
it's gonna be tight.
Very tight.
It's a
Yes.
smaller
You know,
job,
Here.
there's still a lot.
is it on here?
There is, yeah. I think they need to get it enclosed.
Because I can't read that small.
Yes.
I mean,
I have to do that to write this.
I know, I was, you were wiggling it
Something
around.
like
I couldn't
Windows,
see.
for instance, could be a delay, but they can still close the building.
Right.
Siding, I got a feeling they'll have a shell basically all winter long and then do things as they get them.
I don't think it's gonna be a big problem. Things are getting better.
Yeah.
Supplies.
We want to think about, windows, for instance, white interior, white exterior. Keep it basic, because that's what you've got white windows now. If you said, oh, we want
Okay.
black windows and
Anything else?
white interior, that would be something else.
Yeah. Tom,
But-
you want anything?
Nope, we're good. We're
Okay.
good. Thanks, Julie.
If you need me, you just call my cell.
Okay.
I'll interrupt whatever we're doing. Thank you.
Okay. I think I got what I need. Tom's got some other things to go over and
Ed,
then.
talk about the alternate,
Oh,
Gary said he had a note in the last our meeting where the county was gonna go ahead and put the fire alarm in. But what I did is I got the design laid out, because what I had in my notes was it would be priced as an alternate. So I got the device laid out, so you have an automatic ADA compliant fire alarm system in the existing building and then in the addition. The control panel will be located in the addition. Then you gotta have a remote enunciator at the vestibule for the local fire department. And I'm setting that up as an alternate price. So if you wanna procure that yourself, I'll get some notes on the drawing, because you still need the layout. But I'll get some notes on the drawing that, the contractors just to do a conduit and box rough in. And I've set up everything so it's ceiling mounted, so you don't have to get into existing walls and the existing. If you can do, for example, orange strobe, either a wall mount like the wall thing, or you get it in the ceiling. So I showed them all as ceiling mounted. But I'd call it alternate one. So we gotta get that coordinated, if there's multiple alternates, whatever I'm gonna call it.
So I guess, the question is, do you want to have it as an alternate price in the contract, or do you want to, I think you mentioned you had a vendor or something that you work with a lot?
Yeah, I was with the
That's-
Hawkeye alarm from Waterloo.
So if you want to do that, we sure can, and then, like Joe said, we just do the roughing.
I don't think it's gonna hurt to do an alternate on it.
No, it'd be pretty easy to price.
Well, another thing I can do is I'll just limit it to Hawkeye alarm. I know Ken Santa quite well, I work with him over the years all the time, so I'll just send him a set of plans, a my plans, and they'll at least have a heads up.
Okay, so you've got that as number one, we'll do that. Okay, that's fine. And then number two will be the re-shingles of the existing building.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes care of one thing. Good, good, all right. Thank you so much.
So, the last question, when
Yeah.
you talked about the shingles and the different grades, the lower grade that we're going with is still a laminate shingle.
Yeah, that's all I do.
Away from it, you would have-
Yep. Yeah, I get an algae resistance. I mean, it's a good shingle still that you would put on any good house, and yeah. Yep. I still look at it that way.
All right.
I don't remember, the last time I did a 3-tab was at a request of an owner, and I just shrugged the whole time.
It's usually more money
Yeah.
because it takes more labor.
Well, and I think this time there was just this massive wave of a line of the shingle that shows up on a 3-tab a lot more than the architectural shingle style.
I wish the whole thing could be that standing. That's what I like. I know. But, gosh, really
Yeah, it would, I don't,
Does
Mike,
it double it, triple
I was
it?
gonna say, I'm trying to think through, it's probably gonna be 50,000 sticks in my head, at least. Yeah.
I think steel shingles are they higher than the standing seam and steel shingles are probably pretty close.
They're probably pretty close, the installation difference, but it's still metal, and I mean, it's a specialty metal for the asphalt shingle, or for the metal shingle, yeah.
Best thing I ever did to our old country house. I like it.
Insurance helps with insurance a lot, the price.
It's true.
I'm just making sure I didn't have anything, yeah, nope, I'm good, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
See you later.
Catch you tomorrow.
Thanks, Joe.
Few questions still. When we met before, paint, you had a Kim O'Connor. Is that, so are you still gonna wanna do the paint outside the contract? Or as part of the contract? A lot of the stuff, when you do that, is a timing issue, obviously. And then, we're gonna need to know exactly how you want those walls prepped.
I'm sure she would be very flexible in that range.
So just keep it in the contract and then we can spec out what you want.
What we used upstairs? Yeah, I bet she would be able to work into any schedule that you came up with.
Yeah, so we'll just leave it in
Yeah.
there, okay. And then it comes down to color, because a lot of times, we're doing a lot of clinics and they want special color for this, and they want a color for that, and just do a
Single color.
single color throughout.
Yep.
That would be the way to go, okay.
They want something that can take it out of their budget.
Then it comes back down, then it comes to the flooring, Christensen Interiors, and that was gonna be by owner, right? Or is that another one that, you mentioned that's, you would prefer? Because we did a flooring plan, and then it was talked about not having, you guys are gonna take care of it, but once again, that's a timing issue. Because some things you can't do until the flooring's in, so it's a matter of figuring out who's doing what.
They're a big enough company where they can, when
They could do the same
when they get
thing.
the materials, they can do it.
Yeah, but what you gotta remember though, you might not get them there's gonna be competitive bidding, so. It's in the contract. Probably the, lowest guy's gonna get the bid, most likely.
So your question is what?
Or is it in the contract, or is it outside the contract?
Both the materials and the labor, or just
Yep.
the materials?
Both the materials and the labor.
I guess I put it in the contract.
Really?
Because what if they can't get the product, and what if they can't get it done, and it holds up the whole thing? I don't know.
Because I've always had good success with them. There's always those small cases that can be a problem, especially through COVID, but
I guess I'm on the fence on it, whatever you guys think.
I'm always for using local businesses.
I'd like to use a local vendor on that. Do it outside the contract.
Okay.
Just emphasize to him that he's gotta,
When it needs to be, it has to happen.
Yeah, and that's the key, so we're not slowing things up, basically. So, we're talking the flooring and walls. So in the restrooms, we typically put ceramic tile in, like especially on the wet walls, just for keeping it clean, keeping it just support, keeping that wall protected. Do you want tile the whole thing or just the wet wall?
I'd say just the wet wall.
I think so.
Wet wall only, okay.
As we talked about last time, I think.
Okay, easy enough.
And that's Christensen Interiors as well?
Generally,
Yeah, yeah, yep. Let's see here, what he's got here. We will need to know, like, any wood doors, it's gonna be laminate, what color, are they gonna be a stained door? I think everything you got now is existing stained. And this project, your frames will be a metal, and then the door itself will be a laminate outside, so.
and they're solid laminate, right?
Yeah, yep, be a solid door, laminate, yep. So we're just gonna need to know what color types, I'm sure it could affect a little bit of the cost. And then those wood doors, those bifold doors in that connecting existing area, we're just gonna do wood and wood, if you're fine with that, wood frame, wood door. We'll just do stain and match.
That's where you said?
It's in that connecting, right outside that connecting corridor.
Has joined.
Into the existing, that kind of got rearranged there, and there's closets on both sides now.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
What I would call our breezeway between the.
Yes, yeah, right, yeah, yep. Okay. So we'll have to know that. We can give you some examples of colors.
What are the lower cost colors? You don't know yet.
I would say just whichever of those
You wanna
are
keep
the closest to.
closest to the existing? Okay,
Yeah,
that would
I think
be,
it was,
that'd be a good call.
medium oak there now.
Yeah, honey oak or something like, isn't it, like that?
Which is probably more cost effective
I
color.
would think so.
Yeah, I would think so too.
I don't think it ever goes out of style necessarily.
Let's see here. On the siding, just for cost reasons, we just thought we would just keep it the same with what you already got, the same kind of spacing, the same, so we don't do any elaborate,
Yep, that's what we
two
think.
different styles, just keep it horizontal like the other, right?
Right.
We good with that?
And was that gonna be like an LP smart site?
Yes, yep. Bandy tops, culture marble, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about before too. Let's see here, what else has he got for questions?
And then what did we decide on faucets? We're not doing any electronic.
Nope,
Right?
nope, the standard, yep. And then, I guess it was an idea, so what you have now on the existing building is kind of like a Nova brick. It's like, it's a textured block kind of a look. You know, we talked about using brick. Do we want to go and maybe use a textured type stone? You can kind of tell. It's, we don't have anything, we don't have block and block close to each other. So this will be just basically on the columns on the entryway and then just a little bit around the corners. So this is what you have now, and this is about as close
And
as,
that goes all the way across the east side of the existing.
yes,
Good.
yep. See where that, when it hits that corridor, that connecting corridor, we don't have anything on that. And then we start going around the corner again for our new vestibule.
Leave a space.
Leave a space, so you're not gonna see it tied together. And it'll give you the texture of what, the same what you have now, instead of doing a smooth brick.
So
But-
what does,
So-
how does this apply?
That'll be a block,
That's a block.
Yep,
That's Grouted.
grouted, yes, yep.
So the only place that it's really necessary is the columns
Columns and then the front entryway.
and nowhere else, so.
No, then we took all that out and it's all siding from there on out.
Okay.
Yep.
good.
I think that would be good.
I think that's fine.
I mean, it'll look nice, and then if you did your retaining wall, something like with that kind of a texture on it, it would all tie in together.
I do not want this material.
We won't do that material. No, it'll be grouted. It'll be it won't be stackable. So if you're good with that, we'll
Yeah, I think
we'll
that's
go
great.
that route. So I think that color is fairly close. There's a lot of different colors in this one. We'll talk with Mark Quarter over there in Clear Lake and see if they got something maybe a little closer.
There's actually probably a stain.
It doesn't bother me to coordinate a little darker.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is like natural concrete looks to me with some specs in it. Obviously, this is darker.
I think that color would accentuate the new entry
Yeah, it'll look impressive.
rather than blend it in too much.
Right. Okay, that's good. Let's see what else. That might be the remaining question. I do have some questions for Julie, but I can just ask her. You got that room 30.
She's on the phone.
Oh, she is. Oh, okay. Hey, Julie.
Julie, are you on? Maybe she dropped.
Okay. This is just a couple doors in existing, so we'll just take care of that with her. So, I think that's all I.
Yep, I'm on, sorry.
Hey, Julie, so that door, so we're, that conference room, we're cutting it apart, and that existing door staying, it'll become an office. Is there a certain lock you want on that? Is a passage lock, or is it an office lock, storeroom lock? Do you have locks on your doors now?
Yes, we do. So just for that, just a standard lock, whatever they had, and that's what we have now.
Okay, standard office lock, okay.
Yep.
And I don't think we're doing anything else for any other doors in there, so.
Okay. And then if Joe is there,
Yep.
I've already talked to my staff. And in the reception area,
Right.
that Joe and I had already talked about, that looks great for the electrical and all that. Same with the treatment room and the charting area. But the office that's right next to the reception area and all the nurses down below, they're going to have desks instead of built-in, so we do need something in the floor for the wires.
Okay.
And then same with the treatment room, maybe put one in there for the training in case we have to do some things in there.
Right.
And was that the only thing you asked me to ask them?
Yeah, but I need to stop by there and look at your electrical stuff anyway, so I'll be down there whenever we break up here.
Okay, perfect.
I don't think I have anything else, so. Only a few questions, so I'm sure maybe some will come up, but for now.
But I just want to mention that my understanding for our last meeting was, and it was what I was recommending, is for your little office network, we will have our contractor put in the conduit and box rough ends. You will get your pet contractor to install the cable, terminate the cable at both ends, and provide all of the hardware, the switches, routers, blah, blah, blah. And that way, you're not gonna end up with a competitively bid critical system that's, there's many times guys goes, I can finally get rid of that cable I bought by mistake 5 years ago, They don't want that to happen.
And cable's changing too. Seems like there's always new cable coming out.
Right, but, yeah. But anyway, just my opinion. It's like we're splitting the hair, we split 5 times already,
Yeah, but I think by doing it that way, then who's ever gonna be doing the installation of the cable and the hookup is responsible fully for that.
Yep, and it's your guy that you know and trust, and he'll be watching out for you. Plus, everything he puts in is gonna be compatible with what you've got elsewhere.
I do have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Sorry. toilet accessories, I think Kevin said that he'll do his own thing. Is he also gonna install? I think he has a manufacturer he gets all his stuff from, like your toilet paper, hand sanitizer stuff, paper towels.
Yeah, I think so.
He did say that.
Is he gonna install it then? Go Kevin, or do you want the GC to install it?
Probably call him and ask him.
And then we will put the grab bars and the mirrors in the contract itself, and we'll have that GC install those.
Let's see.
When that guy was talking about the dates, July 3rd is a Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure you knew that because the rest of the dates were a Tuesday.
Right, well, we have to meet on that Monday.
You're going to have a meeting on that day.
We didn't want to have one July 4th.
No, I didn't know. I think it was on the agenda next week to talk about, or maybe you already did.
Yeah, Carlo was in here when we did it.
Okay, okay.
She was hoping not to have a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
We were all hoping.
And we're hoping for a short meeting.
Okay. Well, no worries. Yeah.
It is what it is, right?
Okay.
I don't have Kevin's one.
I do.
It's just on that sheet too, that cheat sheet.
But then I have to punch the numbers in.
Is he out mowing?
Pardon?
Is he out mowing? I hear a mower.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's off in the back 40 somewhere.
Not sure if he's at lunch either too.
I'll just get hold of him. That's fine.
Yeah, find out what it is.
Yep, not a problem.
So those all go on what would you would consider the wet wall then, too?
What's that?
I don't know if it would. Not all of it.
No.
Okay.
I do have a layout of it, if you wanna see what we're thinking as a layout, but it's kind of a standard like you probably walk and you got there and it'll probably be the same thing, be my guess.
Off that way.
So. Yep. I don't have anything
Well,
else.
yeah, we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, that's fine. I can, like I said, I can get all of it too, so whatever. That's all I got.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen,
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
for using all of the intricate parts that have to,
Such a small site.
in a small site to
Yeah, complex, for sure. Okay.
You gonna move the end down there, Tom?
Yeah, I'm gonna check out a
Thank
few
you.
things too.
All right, you guys have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, thanks. Thanks.
see ya.
Then we stand adjourned.